Welcome and aloha to the Mililani Waipio Melemanum Neighborhood Board. Thank you all for coming out tonight on a Wednesday night here at 7:30 p.m. at Mililani High School H Building. My name is Danielle Bass. I am the chair of this board. We have a very exciting agenda with a high amount of turnout at tonight's meeting, which I will return back to. First off, I'd like to invite everyone to stand if you are able so that we can begin this meeting with a pledge of allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thanks, Mike. That's been an ongoing tradition in our board for decades, actually. So, okay. Again, welcome to the Mililani Neighborhood Board. In terms of public notice, I'd like to just share some ground rules for tonight's meeting. First off, welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. Tonight is a hybrid meeting, as is all of our monthly meetings of this neighborhood board. That means we have not only people here in person and board members here in person, but we also have members of the public online, and we have board members here online. Given that, I'd like to quickly take a poll, given the high turnout of tonight's meeting. Please raise your hand if you are here for agenda item presentations related to the holiday parade. Raise your hand. Okay, thank you. And please, if you're here online, raise your online hand as well. If you are here for the teacher workforce housing project, please raise your hand. Quite a few people. Oh, and many online. Okay, thank you. If you are here for the Hawaii Country Club's Luau and Kunia, please raise your hand. Okay, and we got some folks online. Thank you. Okay, given that and tonight's high turnout, I'll be using the chair's discretion tonight. That means this meeting is required by contract to conclude at 10:30 p.m. Right? We only have this facility leased, or here in partnership with the Mililani High School till 10:30 p.m. So that said, all agenda items. For anyone wishing to speak tonight, including members of the public and members of the board, will be limited to 2 minutes. Vice Chair Trevor Nagamine will be timing everyone. When that alarm goes off, I will thank you for your comments, okay? What we're going to do for these high interest issues is members of the public will speak first, following the presentation of the entity giving the presentation. I will then open this up to the public to ask your questions. When you ask your questions, comments, whatnot, you'll need to approach the microphone there and state your name for the record, right? Those online, please raise your hand. I will recognize you as well. Members of the public will go first. The Mililani Neighborhood Board members will also have 2 minutes to speak. There will be 2 rounds given to Mililani Neighborhood Board members. And after consultation with the Neighborhood Commission Office, the Mililani Neighborhood Board members are limited to questions to the presenters. Members of the public can provide comments and questions. Okay, so that's after consultation with Rachel here, our neighborhood assistant from the Neighborhood Commission Office. All right, so with that, that is the public notice of our meeting, and I'm going to turn it over to Rachel so that we can establish quorum by roll call.
Thank you. Okay. When I call your name, please state if you're present online or in person. Rana? Among? Okay, Among is here. Bass?
Present.
Thank you. Pramati? Dal?
Present.
Thank you. Flores? Freed?
Here.
Online, thank you. Mustafin? Here, thank you. Kanehe?
Present online.
Thank you. Kaapana Aki?
Present online.
Thank you. Kim?
Present.
Present in person. And Pupuka'a? Pasha Lee?
Present online.
Thank you. Marilyn Lee?
Here.
Here, okay. Nagamine?
Here.
Thank you. Ozawa? Present. Park?
Here. Online.
Thank you. Ross?
Here.
Thank you. Segura?
Here.
Thank you. Smart?
Present in person.
Thank you. Certina?
Present online.
Thank you. And then Trotter?
Present online.
Thank you. Williams?
Present online.
Okay, I counted 19 members present. We meet the quorum.
And as a friendly reminder to members here present in person, please sign in to the sign-in sheet, right? And Rachel, can you also get a count of who's attending online for the record? That being said, we're all the same community here in Mililani, so let's be respectful and share a fair and respectful decorum tonight. All right, first up, Honolulu Fire Department. Welcome.
Aloha gang, I'm Captain Sean Tatishi from Mililani Fire Station, Engine 36. So the statistics provided represent the confirmed number of incidents in our geographical area for the previous month. If you need more details on incidents and related mapping information, you can visit our fire response map on our HFD website at fire.honolulu.gov under the news and info tab. If you guys have any questions, please email the HFD's Public Affairs and Media Liaison at hfdnhb@honolulu.gov. So incident statistics for September 2024, 0 structure fires, 3 wildland fires, 2 nuisance fires, 0 cooking fires, 5 activated alarms, no fire. Emergencies, medical emergency, 9. Motor vehicle collision with pedestrian, 0. Motor vehicle crash collision, 5. Mountain rescues, ocean rescues, hazmat incidents, 0. Fire safety tips and announcements. The fire safety tip for the month is smoke alarms. Make them work for you. This year, the National Fire Protection Association's Fire Prevention Week campaign strives to educate everyone about the importance of having working smoke alarms in the home. For more information and resources, visit fpw.org. So install smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside each separate sleeping area, like a hallway, and on each level of the home. Test smoke alarms at least once a month by pushing the test button, and replace all smoke alarms when they are 10 years old or stop responding when tested. That's it for the message. Any questions from the board or public?
Thank you. Are there any questions for HFD at this time?
All right, thank you again.
Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much. Have a safe night. Next up, HPD. Is HPD here tonight? Hello.
Hi, good evening. I'm Lieutenant Scott Vieira, the Night Watch Commander out of the Wahiwa stations, which covers Mililani, Wahiwa, and the North Shore. Statistics for this month, assaults, there were 2. There were 0 robberies. There were 5 burglaries. There were 0 UEMVs or unauthorized entry into motor vehicles. And there are a total of 31 motor vehicle collisions. The total calls for service that we responded to was 546. I'll go ahead with the safety tip for this month. It has to do with burglary and theft prevention. The first one seems kind of obvious, but it happens a lot. Basically, it's just for your homes, just make sure you guys lock your doors. A lot of criminals, they're opportunistic. They see something, they're going to act on it. A number of homes here in Mililani have the enclosed garage doors that slide up and down. And a lot of them, if they're left unsecured, you can access the house through there. So just make sure you guys are locking your doors. Windows, particularly the ground level windows. Again, if they see sliding windows that are left open, they could act on it. Louvered windows, if they're open, so easy to just bend the tabs and pull out some jealousies and they can make entry through there. And then finally, surveillance systems. With the surveillance systems now, they're so cheap and available. A lot of people have them. Just something to think about when you set them up at your house. Some of the surveillance systems are, the cameras they put it are so obvious, which gives a good picture but it's so accessible to the criminals. A lot of times you'll see a masked person coming up, just removing the camera or putting a shirt over it and takes it out of play. So just keep that in mind. And also try to make sure that you can kind of see some of your property. A lot of them have the cameras pointed out to the street. You can see cars going back and forth, very suspicious activity. But for us to use the surveillance in a criminal prosecution, we got to see the offense. So if you can kind of capture part of your yard, if we can get the suspects on your property, much more helpful. That's all I have. Any questions?
Thank you. Are there any questions for HPD at this time? Yes,
Right.
Member Kim.
One question. My understanding of the 7 burglaries, 3 of them were in the area of Holani on East Street in that neighborhood. Is
Uh-huh.
there any more information about that in the last week, I think?
In the last week, I know we had the smash and grab. As far as those burglaries, I don't have any specific details. I can check to see if there's like a lot of time if we have concentrated burglaries in one area, they'll look at like a series and let our crime reduction units work on them. But I haven't got any report of like a series or anything going on at that location. Sorry.
I see that board member Karumi Key has a question. Please proceed.
Hi, I did see a constituents write up a letter complaining about the noise coming from cars that are racing up and down the streets, especially Mehe'ula Parkway, and they modified their vehicles somehow so that the noise factor becomes very troublesome. And they do it in the early morning hours and late at night. What is HPD doing about this situation?
So calls like that, a lot of times if the kids are racing or the drivers are racing back and forth in one particular area, we really advise you guys to call. We really need to go to the location, make a traffic stop, identify the driver, and if there's any equipment violations, issue citations.
It happens quite a lot, almost every night along Mehe'ula Parkway, right outside of right alongside the high school, by the gym parking lot, almost every
Yeah.
single night.
Yeah, and I think there was a OIC complaint a complaint that goes through the mayor's office, and I believe the officers were making checks. But if you guys see the activity going on and officers are not there, I ask that you please call and we can send some officers there when it's happening.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions for HPD at this time? Board member Among.
We've been talking about this for months. Somebody is blowing off illegal fireworks. It sounds like we're in the Middle East. This isn't just regular firecrackers. Somebody's blowing off bombs, and it's reached the point where it actually sounds terroristic to be putting up with this any longer.
Mhm.
We must move forward with a plan to identify who this guy is. He obviously is a bomb freak. He wants to blow off his fireworks, and they're
Your question?
illegal. So is there any way we can put together a plan, a community awareness with the police department and the people in the community to try and target who this person is once and for all?
Yeah, and again, I'm not trying to make excuses, but for us to issue a citation, we got to see the violation, or we need calls where we can actually identify where the bomb is coming from. That's the most difficult challenge we face in trying to enforce fireworks violations. We see them in the air, we hear them, we get the calls, but we got to identify who actually set them off. And I know now there's been some changes to the law where we actually can use witnesses. If you guys have video, you guys can record them on phones. We'll take that into evidence. If we can build a case, we'll go ahead and try to identify the suspects.
My idea was early on that I
Thank
told
you,
the
Member
chair.
Among. Are there any final questions for HPD?
Definitely, yeah.
Sorry, since he's in the back, could you restate the question for the record?
So he was asking if video or surveillance that the general public would get, if that could be admissible or help, by all means. That's actually what we asked for. Yeah, I mean, whatever you guys can share with us, you guys are our eyes and ears out there. There's only a number of officers. So, I mean, depending on what you can depict in the video, if you can get a license plate, we'll definitely follow up, find out who the registered owner is. But if we got like a blue car speeding by, we can put that in our notes. But the more information you guys provide, it helps us out.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you for your presentation or your report. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to move on to Military Combat Aviation Brigade 25th Infantry Division. Is there a representative from 25th ID? It's your time, Board of Water Supply. Kathleen, we got you. Don't you worry. 25th ID, military rep. Seeing and hearing none, we're going to call up Kathleen Pahinui from the Board of Water Supply. Please proceed.
And actually, this was for Board Member Among. I'm not going to take any more time than necessary, no main breaks, and I'm just going to go right to it. This was, so if Tracy is online, Tracy, I'm going to steal a little bit of your thunder tonight from the mayor's report. There was a question regarding the fire hydrant in front of Hawaii Country Club last month, and if there's one can be installed. We actually do all the installation of fire hydrants. We maintain them as well for the fire department. They don't do any of that. We do it. We do the planning, the maintenance, the installation, the design. We do not have a water system in that area, which is why there is no fire hydrant. So beyond that, I don't have any question. I'm not able to answer, but I did want to get back to you and let you know that in case somebody has questions.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Any further questions for Board of Water Supply? Member Ross.
So since we don't have water over there, and I know Rokini is expanding north, and I know Kunia is slowly switching over, are there future plans to put in water supply systems?
Not right now, no.
Okay, and then if one would like to request, is that through the city and county? Or
Yeah, Tracy should be able to help you with that one. It would probably be through maybe DFM or something, but generally what happens, it becomes the responsibility of whoever's water system that is. And if they're on a private water system, which I believe they are, it'll be their responsibility to put in the fire hydrant. I think that's what you wanted to hear. Thank you.
Any other questions for Board of Water Supply at this time? All right, seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much,
Good luck.
Kathleen. Okay, folks, we're getting into the reason why so many people are here, presentations. Friendly reminder that each presenter is allowed 5 minutes for the presentation. And for those who missed my earlier announcement, the public will have an opportunity to provide comments and questions for 2 minutes, right? We're going to open it up to the public first, following each presenter, right? We're going to be respectful of each presentation. And then after the public questions and comments have concluded, the board members will have questions to direct to the presenter for 2 minutes. And they have 2 opportunities to do that following the public. Okay. So that said, Marilyn Lee from the Mililani Lions Club would like to present the upcoming 2024 Mililani Holiday Parade and proposed route information. Welcome, Marilyn.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I did promise you I would only take 2.5 minutes. So for that reason, I'm mainly going to read from the information that I have.
Thank you.
As Chair said, I'm from the Mililani Lions Club. Mililani Lions Club is the presenter for the Christmas parade, but they are joined by the Mililani Shopping Center, Town Center, Honolulu Police Department, and the Hawaii Food Bank. So we have a lot of community people helping. The parade this year will be held on Saturday, December 7th. Starts at 9 a.m. at Mililani High School, Kauinana Stadium. Everybody knows where that is. Let's see. I'll read you the route of the parade. The parade will start at the stadium, Mililani High School Stadium, at 9 a.m. Traveling down Kipapa Drive, past the Mililani Shopping Center, turning right on Mo'enamano, left on Kuahilani, right on Mehi'ula Parkway, left on to Lani Kuhana, and ending at approximately 10:30 a.m. at the town center of Mililani. Participants and vehicles will begin lining up along Kipapa Drive. Participants and vehicles will begin, I get ahead of myself. There'll be no parking signs. So, if you're coming to the parade just to observe, you got to find a parking place that's not on the parade route. And so you have to come early. Let's see. HFD has been part of the planning as well as the police department. So I think they're going to be well represented, and they'll tell you when you're parking in the wrong place. What else would you like to know about this? The application form is available from the chair of the board, and there's also a model over here. Participants have also received safety guidelines. If you aren't aware of the safety guidelines, there are two real important things that you should know. Do not dress up as Santa Claus unless you are the official Santa Claus, because only one Santa Claus is allowed. And if you dress up and you're not the official one, you're going to be told to leave. Isn't that sad? And also, no candy distribution or flags or whatever else distribution is there. Only Santa Claus will be allowed to distribute candy. This information has been provided to the MTA and the neighborhood board 35, our neighborhood board, the shopping center, and just about all the websites and Facebook pages in the town. So if you have any questions, I'd be glad to answer them. And please do attend the parade. It's really a great community event.
Mahalo, Marilyn. And yes, you did that in under 3 minutes. Great. Wait, you can't leave yet. We have to ask if there's any questions. Folks, are there any questions for the Mililani Lions regarding the Mililani Holiday Parade?
Anybody worth thinking to be Santa?
Thank you, Marilyn. And thank you, Marilyn. You mentioned about application form, all the forms, all the documents that are given to our board. By the way, for those who are here tonight, new, we do, you'll see it on our agenda. We have a Google Drive here listed. Okay, that is public information, right? Because this board is in compliance with Sunshine Law. So the information our elected officials provide us, this is all, on the board Google Drive and open to the public. So feel free. And if you are interested in doing that application for the Lions, it should be up there. Deadline is November 1st. Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on and welcome Sherry Nakamura from the State of Hawaii School Facilities Authority. She'll be presenting the proposed teacher workforce housing project to be located in Mililani High School's campus. Welcome, Sherry.
Aloha and good evening. My name is Sherry Nakamura, and I'm the Community Liaison for the Hawaii School Facilities Authority, or HISFA. And I'm here to open a collaborative dialogue on the new project at Mililani. Since we hope to be working together with you for the upcoming months, I would like to give you some background of myself, the project, and HISFA. Prior to joining HISFA in June of 2024, I was director of a community coalition called the Hui for Excellence in Education, a group that advocated for improving our Hawaii public schools. We were well aware of the importance of quality teachers to the education of our keiki, but also painfully aware of the DOE's difficulties with retention and recruitment. When Act 172 was signed into law in June of 2023, it was celebrated news. HISFA was created in 2020 to be a smaller, more nimble state agency separate from the DOE. Act 172 provided HISFA the powers to partner with public and private development agencies to develop housing projects on school lands. The excitement and potential of Act 172 was soon tempered by the Lahaina wildfire tragedy. All state funding had to be reconsidered, even though the teacher shortage still threatened our keiki. It was under these conditions, in December 2023, that HISFA issued an RFP that allowed for much more leeway for the offerer to shape the project than typical. The RFP had only two strict parameters as directed by lawmakers: purpose and place. The purpose was affordable below-market housing for teachers. The place was Mililani High School. To minimize the reliance on state funds while also compressing the timeframe to completion, the sought partner would come in early in the design-build process. To be honest, I had a mostly cynical view of developers, but when I read the proposal by Pacific Housing, it surprised me in how thoughtful it is, not just on the logistics of the construction, but to the impact the project would have on the Mililani High School and community. It is also very considerate of the prospective teacher tenants. This housing project could very well be an inadvertent center of excellence. Of course, we are now aware that some of the choices in the proposal have come under criticism since the award announcement. This is our fault for the information coming out without the fuller context. In particular, we did not do a good job in explaining that the proposal was just that, and not a final design nor a final plan. The fuller development agreement is not on the schedule for at least a year. Usually, when an announcement of this magnitude is made, most of the due diligence is already done, so there was an understandable alarm that it seemed neglected. But as noted before, Pacific Housing was chosen as a partner early to be intimately involved in such phases as stakeholder engagement, traffic studies, and the environmental assessment. So let me quickly talk about trade-offs considered in the most controversial choice in the proposal, the location. As the proposal states, the location was chosen because it would minimize impacts on students, eliminate infrastructure commingling, maximize walkability to existing community resources, meet teachers' needs as expressed in teacher focus groups. These seem like valid and valuable considerations. The traffic impact study and any mitigating measures were not available at the proposal phase, but are part of the ongoing process. We have become aware of the 2015 Complete Streets report regarding the intersection at Kipapa, just down the road from the proposed site. The RFP says the project should embrace the complete streets design approach, so hopefully there will be some synergy there. Perhaps any mitigation measures suggested by a new study would be a welcome improvement to the current situation. This could be, hopefully will be a win-win that will bring some relief to a long-standing community concern. There are other trade-offs to be considered. For example, if you look at the map of sewer mains available on the Hawaii Geo portal, a direct sewage connection for a residence from the RFP's preferred site might have to go through the school's athletic fields. This would seem like an unwanted disruption. You are all part of this process early on, so you can be aware of these sorts of trade-offs. I believe we have found a fine partner for this project in Pacific Housing, and as you begin to engage with them, I am confident you too will find them to be caring and considerate, as well as creative and comprehensive. And even though things got off to a rough start, I believe we have a fine partner with all of you too, high school and community. I do want to apologize again for the misleading way the information got rolled out to you, and hopefully, as things clear up, you will soon be excited, as I am, to be in at the start of this new kind of project. You will not just be welcoming a batch of honorable neighbors, and by doing so helping all of our keiki, you will, once again, be helping set the standard for other neighborhoods. We are here to kick off the stakeholder engagement process. As I mentioned, we look forward to hearing your input. We value your feedback as it will make this project and future projects better. There are still a lot of things in the works. If we're not able to answer your questions now, we will be sure to note them so we may address them as we progress through the process. A stakeholder meeting is planned for the middle of November. Through a website and newsletter also starting in November, we will continue our dialogue with the public. My contact information is sherry.nakamura. You can go to the next slide. At hisfa.org, and you can email me anytime. Thank you and mahalo, and I'm ready for any questions that anyone might have.
Mahalo nui, Sherry. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for that presentation. Okay, are there any questions from the public? Remember, questions, comments, please approach the microphone. It would probably be best if you start lining up so that we can kind of move this meeting along. Sherry, since the questions may be possibly directed to you or others here in the room, right? Please be available to answer if needed. Yes, you can. Yes. And members of the public, please direct the questions to the board, right? Because this is going to be on YouTube, right, for perpetuity, and this is a public meeting. So, okay. Any questions? Please. No. Please, go up to the mic. Go up to the mic, state your name for the record. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, my name is Becky, and I have some concern. I do have some concerns about the development. As a licensed full-time property manager, I can tell you that the figures that Oh, there you are. That the figures that are being used and that are being quoted for the sizes of the units are way overpriced. They're saying $1,967 for a studio. I'd like to get that as a property manager, but it won't happen. So they're overpricing them, and I'd like to know where their comps came from to come up with those figures. Secondly, how can they say they're building affordable housing for teachers and then price the rent at a rate where it's necessary for them to have a roommate or get a second job because they can't afford 120% over their income, which is what the qualifying is that I saw. Also, if they can't locate DOE employees at these outrageous rental prices, then who will go into these units? Will they start going down and have to give states subsidies to the program like we're famous for doing? Or will they open it to the general public just so they can fill those apartments? Because a lot of teachers won't be able to afford these prices. And these are their prices being quoted today. So what are they going to be by the time the development is finished? And my main problem is the parking. The parking is a problem in Mililani, and street parking is at a minimum in this area. So are they going to offer 2 stalls per unit so that if you do have a husband and a wife living in a unit, they can both park a car? If not, it's going to be on a street. And I believe there's a minimum of 109 units. Is that correct? Yes. Okay, 109 units. And on the 109 units, that's 100 cars added to that at least as a minimum. So that's unsafe. Then I want to know, are there complaints, which I'm guessing by the audience here, there are some complaints, maybe there's support from teachers and staff that the fact they're going to lose their agriculture department ground. And because that's been there a long time and it's very important to our community.
Thank you. If you'd like, yes, please go ahead.
So thank you for your questions. Again, as I mentioned, we are very early in the process and nothing is finalized. So the purpose of the project is to provide affordable housing for teachers, and we are going to strive to do that. We're going to have an opportunity to hear input like yours, and we're taking notes down right now. So we will collect all of this input, but the main purpose of the project is to provide affordable housing. And so that's what we are going to do our best to try to do. It's hard to quantify anything now because nothing is finalized.
Thank you, Sherry. I'd like to, as a friendly reminder for those who would like to participate with questions and comments online, if you're a member of the public, please raise your hand. Board members will have a chance following the members of the public. So if you are online, please raise your hand so I can recognize you. And what I can do here is we can alternate between people in person and people online so that everyone has a fair opportunity to express their questions, comments, and concerns. Ma'am, please. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
My name is Claire Matsumoto. I heard about this from both, I don't know which source, and I know that Children's Times was another source. And they were mentioning about the agriculture area and how the agriculture area is the area where they're going to place this new housing. And they were talking about the concerns about it because they're going to move it to another location. But I'm worried about whether it's going to be on campus or if it's going to be somewhere else. Because the existing agriculture courses, I don't know what's going to happen to them. And then to do with the teacher housing, I first thought that it was only solely for the Mililani teachers, but I found out that it's for the DOE teachers. So I was wondering, how are they going to determine who is the teacher that they're going to have for these housing? Is there going to be some kind of sign up? Is there some sort of qualifications that would determine who gets to stay there? Is there any restrictions when they're at that home? Like pets or whatever other limitations there are when you live in like an apartment or condo dwelling. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for your question. The site that's being proposed is just a proposed site. So nothing is finalized. In the proposal, there was mention of moving and upgrading the agricultural site, but nothing has been determined. In terms of eligibility of teachers, the process would be HISFA and Pacific Housing would come up with some eligibility requirements, and a property manager would handle based on those eligibility. So that is what we are looking forward to. And again, nothing is finalized.
Sir, welcome.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Sherry. Nice meeting you. I
Your
guess
name
one
for
thing
the
is,
record.
was that? Oh, sorry, Matthew Kaliko.
Thank you.
So this is the first time I'm meeting Sherry, which is kind of weird because I'm one of the ag teachers here at Mililani High School. I haven't heard much about this. Luckily, my principal informed me about what was happening, but that's the only dialogue I've had about this whole plan. I'm kind of in the dark. I think a lot of us teachers feel the same way. We're in the dark. And being that, I think I'm the first teacher that came up here. I'll tell you right now, my paycheck is about $2,374 every 2 weeks, bro. Okay. So that means that in order to afford one of these apartments, that's the entire paycheck. And then the next paycheck, I have to pay for my daughter's tuition. I got to pay for food, my car, whatnot. There's no way that is enough money. There's no way that's affordable for his teachers. If you're talking about a 2-bedroom, I think it was 2-bedroom. Is that the biggest? I think that was quoted about $35,000 or $4,000 around there. I'll tell you right now, that's unaffordable. Like just straight up. Luckily, I have a wife that also works, but even then, I mean, it'd be a struggle to be making those payments. On top of that, we're talking about rent. This is not a mortgage. So you're telling us that someone with a master's degree, and I've been teaching for 15 years now, cannot afford an apartment, to buy an apartment? I'm just renting for the rest of my life. I mean, it kind of sounds like, I don't know, dentured servants. I don't know, something like that. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to call that affordable, and then you're going to disrupt our whole field. We put a lot of work. All the science teachers over there, science, ag, teaming up. If you guys have passed by in the corner, you guys know it's a big difference. I hope we've really turned that place around, and it's like all for nothing. And I have students asking me now, they're like, "Mister, why are we even like still working out here?" I'm like, "That's a good question. I don't know. Work ethics, learn to, just do things, even though things might change, right?" So it's kind of the lesson I'm trying to teach them.
Thank you.
But
No, please summarize.
yeah. So just ending with the lack. A lot of us teachers at Mililani High School are kind of just waiting for, and on top of that, again, it's not affordable. There's no way it's affordable.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input. It's very helpful for us. Our stakeholder engagement and this input collecting is starting right now. So we are taking note of it. Again, I'm going to apologize again for the way the project was rolled out. And it is a proposal. It's not the final plan. So there's still a lot of things that need to be discussed. And your input is very valuable. And we want to hear more of it.
I see that there is a member of the public online with the name Aurenep. Please, you're recognized. Turn on your microphone, state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes to address your statement, question, concern, or comment.
Good evening. My name is Aureen, and I am a teacher in Central District, as well as a mother of a Mililani High School graduate class of 2024. My daughter Danica has been a member of of Hui Malama Mililani High School for her 4 years while she was in high school. She would be talking today, except she is attending UH Lilo, thankfully, due to all of the awesome environmental science and science teachers at Mililani High School. A couple of months ago, he and I went to Makaha to collect with respect Pohaku to build a rock wall. For the life of me, I can't remember the correct Hawaiian name for the wall, but that rock wall stands there in the ag department in the farmland as a symbol of all of the hard work and love that she has brought to this mala, to this beautiful agricultural field that is there on campus. She has worked with the other members of her class to plant Hawaiian native plants that they then brought to the Waianae Mountains to, reforest the area. And I can't even tell you, she who learns best with her hands, who loves life, who has loved her teacher, Jenny Kawamari, shout out to her. And when she found out that, her loved mala might be destroyed, she actually flew home from UH Hilo to see what she can do. That place is very meaningful to the students and the faculty of that school, and really would hope that it would not be destroyed for housing. And as the other teacher stated, $2,000 is not affordable for any teacher. It would be a whole paycheck. I have been teaching for 29 years, and even at the top of the salary, affordable housing, that's not affordable. Let's make affordable housing for all teachers, whether they're fresh, 1 or 2 years of teaching, or whether they are veteran teachers with families. I'm sorry, I can't move my family into small teacher housing. Make housing affordable for all teachers by giving us a living wage. Thank you.
Mahalo. Right on time, 2 minutes. Sherry.
Thank you for your input. We've noted it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ma'am, please.
Hi, my name is Bryn Graves, and I'm a senior at Mililani High School. Aloha, Chair Bass and Neighborhood Board members. Thank you for the opportunity to speak tonight. As a part of the ASMHS Student Body Council and Sociedad Honoraria Hispanica, or SAHH, I've been a part of it for 3 years, and I'm VP this year. I've seen firsthand the love and the work that's been put into the ag field, and have worked on it myself through our Ocean Guardians program, as well as through our science, environmental classes. And have grown a love in Kuleana for that garden. I personally have put so much aloha into this area through class time and my own free time, and would hate to see it desecrated by a residential building. Also, speaking on behalf of the SAHH program, we work so hard in this area frequently throughout the year, and this has become an integral part to our program. Our club loves to help grow and upkeep this garden, and we are looking forward to continuing this activity in our club. This ag field is also home to our end-of-year Imu tradition. Building this residential building would not allow us to continue this beloved celebration. Mahalo for your consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input and advocacy. Appreciate it.
Yes. Next.
Good evening, Chair Bass and the neighborhood board members. My name is Avery Tanaka. I'm the current ASMHS student body president here at Mililani High School. So when we heard about the faculty housing project come up, there were a lot of concerns and comments going around with the students here on campus. First, the main concern is, of course, the intersection traffic. It'll be messy and possibly dangerous. It will essentially add more traffic into an area where we have kids, elementary and preschool in both areas. Also, some students may feel uncomfortable having living facilities so close to populated class areas near our H building, upper portables, N building, and O building. Lastly, the work that has been put into the agriculture over the past few years has been remarkable, and even I have been a part of those Spanish classes that have planted ulu trees last year. And we planted those after doing a research project and learning all about the importance of them in Spanish-speaking countries as well as our local Hawaiian Islands. Overall, students here at MHS do have concerns about the faculty housing project possibly being located on the ag field. So we just wanted to take that into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for your feedback, and it is noted. Mahalo.
Young man, please proceed.
Thank you, Chair Bass and the rest of the neighborhood board for allowing me to voice my concerns here. My name is Cruz Sagaisai, a member of the Trojan Marching Band and a proud student leader here at MHS. I just wanted to say I spend a lot of time at school, very late hours, very late nights, and I fear the teachers would be unable to escape the student population with these late hours and these activities. My bad, guys. But they might struggle to develop a work-life balance living on a high school campus, still surrounded by students, even when they should be living their personal lives. And I worry that this may jeopardize their ability to live out their personal life. perhaps they have a partner or children, and they may not be able to fully, I suppose, raise them in a way that they are leaving the school. They only think about school. That's all they live. That's all they work. That's all they do. And I'm just worried that they would not be able to create that separation and live their life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mahalo.
Please proceed.
Hello, Chair Bass and members of the board. My name is Logan Reilly, and along with being a student here at MHS, I am the school's Senate President, and I've had the opportunity to hear from students from all grades about their concerns, and many have already been shared tonight. I'm also the son of two teachers who struggle to afford housing in Hawaii. They and I do not agree with this project at its projected location. The rent is not really affordable housing and doesn't really help the already capable educators here in Hawaii find housing. We want homegrown educators prioritized, not recruiting mainland. I hope the Housing Authority listens to the community, students, and staff wherever this project may occur. Please value our voice and maybe look at schools or other state land that already have lower or projected lower enrollment populations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, mahalo for your comments. Duly noted.
Welcome.
Aloha, Chairman, and the rest of the board. My name is Mary Miura Aguinaldo. I'm a teacher here, but I'm here on my daughter's behalf because she's a recent graduate, and I would like to read her testimony because she stated it better than I could, and she is in
1
college.
minute and 47 seconds.
So
Go ahead.
she's an alumni and majoring in environmental and sustainability studies at the University of Northern Colorado. Her primary studies currently include social justice, community climate resilience, sustainable development, food geography, and economics. She wants to make clear that her position is opposition to the development of housing in the space occupying Mililani High School campus on the corner of Meheula Parkway and Ho'okelewa'a Street. She took her senior science credits in agriculture, a class called Sustainable Food Systems. She experienced life being put into the program in the Aina. It nourished her and gave her her path in life. There are juvenile ulu trees that line a student-made mulch path brought to the school by teachers involved in environmental and agricultural education. Ulu trees are a culturally and socially significant symbol of Native Hawaiian heritage and resilience. There are long-standing seed nurseries for Native plants that are outplanted to support Native ecosystems. She was going to community work days for this Aina for as long as she can remember, and there are many others that could say the same. Those mere experiences are what builds community, and her own are not the only experiences that exist. That agriculture zone is not just some plot of land. It's a place where community is built and preserved. If the agricultural zone is uprooted, a vital part of the community these educators need will be uprooted as well. She doesn't oppose affordable housing as a goal for educators, but does oppose and disregard of the surrounding communities in their development. If the developers and parties involved in this decision have the resources and critical thinking skills to understand disruptions to the school, then they have the resources and critical thinking skills to understand disruptions to this community as well. I urge them to rethink and use their skills again to create an affordable housing plan that does not disrupt the school and its community spaces. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Thank you to you and your daughter. Mahalo.
I will ask again. I haven't seen any hands from members of the public online. I did share it in the chat. If you're an interested member of the public, please raise your online hand so that I may recognize you. They are board members. So board members will have their opportunity to speak following the public. So if you're members of the public, please raise your hands. Seeing none. Okay, I see Bonnie Parker has her hand raised. Bonnie, please proceed.
Okay, aloha kako. I'm Bonnie Parker, a science teacher here at Mililani High School. I currently teach sustainable food systems and marine science. I want to express my concerns regarding the proposed site of the faculty housing project on the agriculture space of the corner of Meheula Parkway and Ho'okelewa'a Street. So my first concern is a precedent that will be set by developing one of the few pieces of agricultural lands in Mililani. Agricultural land is valuable. It's precious and it should be protected, not used as the cheaper option for development. We are currently in a food systems crisis where over 90% of our food is imported. Our islands are one natural disaster away from a total food system collapse. And we should be focusing our efforts to use our agricultural lands to grow healthy, nutritious foods, not development. Secondly, I am deeply concerned about the message being sent to our current and former students and teachers who have dedicated their time and energy to the agriculture field. For many of us, we have a reciprocal relationship with the place. As we enter the agriculture space and chant Ehomai, we connect to the past, the present, the future. We become something larger than ourselves. The connection to place strengthens our sense of belonging. Hepili Vehena Ole. It's a relationship that cannot be undone. We tell our students that when they take care of their land, they're actively participating in building a better future for themselves. What message is being sent if we tell them that this can be paved over and replaced? My third concern from what I've heard from today is when an environmental assessment or environmental impact statement will be conducted, and the public will hear about this. When we have heavy floods, the rain comes down through the agricultural space. So I have a concern about the flooding and downstream effect that it will have, especially on the town center. So I urge the SFA to look into alternative options. I am confident that we can come up with a better and more creative solution because that is what the next generation deserves. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input and comments.
Please introduce yourself and share your comments.
Okay, aloha, everybody. I am Sierra Santos. I am a teacher here at Mililani High School. I speak on behalf of course, myself, and I know my colleagues as well, and my haumana that I know. And so I just wanted to share about the position of which the affordable housing is planned or proposed to be built on the agriculture space, along with our Mala space and the Waianae Mountain watersheds and our nurseries that we have growing over thousands of native plants there. And it's kind of like running off of what Bonnie Parker was talking about is the importance of that space, and what we teach our haumana is beyond ourselves and the legacy that they leave. And it's been a lot of hard work that we put forth years and years in coming to envision something beautiful with our community members, different colleagues, and along with our haumana and the trees, the legacy of them building that space, then the time that they put forward, it's a lot. And I invite you guys one day, maybe you guys can come out with our haumana and with us to experience what has been built, and especially our ahu that has been built by various of all of our students that have brought in pohaku from all over where they're from to build that space, to make it sacred. And to bring up the importance of why we have to protect and cherish and continue to develop ourselves in that space. And again, I invite you guys all to come and share time with us at that space. So hopefully you can feel connected and see the bigger picture of the legacy that our haumana is doing for our generation, connecting to our past and the present and for our future generations. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Mahalo for your input and your invitation.
I'd like to again ask that if there are any members of the public who are attending online that are not board members, please raise your hand to be recognized so that you can express any question, comment, concern, or statements. Board members will be recognized following public. So please raise your hand so that I may recognize you. Otherwise, we will continue with those who are here in person. Please, ma'am.
Aloha, thank you for the opportunity to share our thoughts on this project. I'm Jenny Kuahara. I'm a teacher at Mililani High School. I work with many of the teachers who've already spoke. So just to reiterate kind of what they say, I'm not a good public speaker, but so I wrote some things down. Our students and the community honor this place. To quote the late Anakala Ponoshim, as we ha, we na, as we exhale and go to a moment of emptiness, we unleash our grace. We strengthen our relationship with each other, our community, and Aina. This place is sacred to us. It's a symbol of our resilience and the legacy we want to leave for the next generation of stewards. So if we build on this place, what message are we sending to our youth who've given their mana, buried their intentions with these legacy trees for the sustainable future that we're trying to envision for them? As we continue to displace agricultural land for convenience, walkability, whatnot, what message do we send to them? And what do we leave for the future generations? I ask that you don't just take note of our concerns, but that you take action on them and decide on a different place. Mahalo.
Mahalo. Thank you for your comments.
Yes, please.
Hi, my name is Jeremy Garo. I'm a teacher at Mililani High School, and my colleagues as well as students did a great job in explaining a lot of my concerns along with about this project. But there's 2 points that I kind of want to make in terms of that were not mentioned. So one of them being in other projects around the United States, like as California, a lot of the prices were set at about half the normal medium rent value of that area. So given that, again, the prices that they propose, that's about par with what we already have in Mililani. So again, in terms of affordability, that's a thing that should be looked at in the future, or what should be gauged in terms of setting those kinds of barriers. Also, use of alcohol and tobacco. So a lot of teachers, again, we have our human indulgences. If they need to have, and if they're living on campus, is there going to be a policy or the Board of Education policy going to be amended to account for that? Or are we going to allow these things on campus and potentially harm the safety and security of our students in our campus? Yeah. Here's it.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Okay, turning it back to folks online, I see that a member of the public, Representative Caruso, has her hand up. Please proceed. You have 2 minutes.
Thanks. I think this is the first time I've ever offered comments as a member of the public. And I do so because, my child was part of Hui Malama Mililani and Mililani and was also involved in helping to care for this place. And I think that, when I was at Mililani High School, and even in the years since, I've seen the incredible dedication of a very diverse group of teachers stretched across different disciplines coming together to collaborate in support of this kind of work. And I recognize the efforts that Ms. Nakamura has put into developing a plan, and I also understand that the location is not set. And then I just urge the folks who are engaged in solidifying the plan to take seriously the sentiments of the students and the teachers who have put so much into this place and for whom it is so important. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative, for your comments.
Please introduce yourself. 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Sarah Miranda, and if you would forgive me, I'm going to turn and face Miss Nakamura.
Oh, actually, can you
Can-
address your comments to the board?
Sorry, okay. I just want her to be here. All right. As one of the teacher members of the Mililani School Community Council, I'm speaking on behalf of some of the teachers of Mililani High School. We would like to say that the idea of teacher workforce housing is not the issue. What is at issue are some of the following concerns. The proposed location would add 158 vehicles to a high traffic area. Ho'okelewa'a dead ends at an elementary school where hundreds of students cross the street in the mornings and the afternoons. It also provides pickup and drop off parking for parents, as well as student and teacher parking for elementary and high school. Adding a significant number of vehicles to this area would exacerbate an already overburdened traffic area. Number two, the proposed location removes a large green space that helps to keep temperatures cooler for a part of campus where many classrooms don't have air conditioning. Less green space and more cement and high buildings means higher temperatures for classrooms that already run into the 90s during the warm months. Number 3, the inevitable noise created by construction in the proposed location would interfere with the ability of nearby classrooms to function. This would immediately affect me because my classroom is adjacent to this area and my windows are always open as I don't have air conditioning. There are other proposed locations on campus that are not in close proximity to classrooms, and we urge you to look at those alternate locations. Most importantly, I would like to ask above all else that the SFA and the developers would acknowledge and take into consideration the cultural and community connection to this particular space on campus. You've heard multiple testimonies. We ask that if you must proceed with this location, that you would proceed with respect towards the people, the culture, the food, and the learning that are all supported by this particular space on our campus. In conclusion, we understand that this is to be the first of multiple workforce housing locations, and other communities will be more likely to support future projects if they see that this pilot location was planned and carried out with input from the local community. Information has not been well distributed, and we strongly suggest that you take proactive steps to be more transparent and include the community at every stage. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for your valuable comments.
Okay. I don't see any other individuals who would like to speak at this time. Are there any other people here in person who would like to speak? Please introduce yourself and please proceed.
Hello, my name's Casey Yates. Yeah, so it was very well articulated by the staff and students how important the school in that area is, and that's I'm not gonna go over that. If we can't develop housing that is affordable to the teachers, as some of our staff has already mentioned, we shouldn't do it here. This is prime real estate for this school. And there are, though we don't have a lot of land in Hawaii, we have some undeveloped land that we could develop a project like this that would not disrupt a very mature process that we have here on Mililani. So I would just ask that we consider that, consider the needs of the community and the staff and the students. They so well spoke about that tonight, and that was very important. But yeah, if we can't develop affordable housing, we shouldn't be doing it here at all, in my opinion. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, thank you for your comments.
Ma'am, I see you standing in the back.
Hi, good evening, Chair Bass, Neighborhood Board. Thank you for this time. My name is Janet Leilani. I am the Student Activities Coordinator here at Mililani High School, and my students are amazing. Some of them I know well, some of them are new student leaders arising this year. But when this topic came up, they were shocked at how much we talk in our civics classes, in our participation in democracy classes about being invested, being aware, doing your research, and bringing your voice to the table and being blindsided. Like some of the first teachers who brought it up, going, this is coming to us, and we get that we're the school and this is the state, but it's so important to value the voice of all parties. So I think like what was just mentioned needed to be brought up. But something that I just want to reiterate, I think, to the SFA group is this was one proposed site. I know there was others that were looked at. And I think the easy answer can't just be, wow, there's good reasons for not option A, let's go to option B. Because I think that could open another conversation for pros or cons for both entities across the state. So on behalf of the almost 50 clubs and organizations we have at our school, the students that stay here long hours, some of them did not go home today, I'm sure. I think it's really important that we continue this discussion. And so I thank you for the time, and all of them online as well. But I think it's really important to not just go, okay, so let's switch to the next location and call it a day, because it's not an easy fix. It needs to be a bigger conversation. Thank you.
Thank you.
If those are all the comments from the public, we thank you all again. Oh, okay.
Okay. We didn't even, the board hasn't asked questions.
no.
So, yeah.
Right. So I know that the board is coming next, but the comments from the public, I just want to,
yeah.
if that's, I mean, we are we are embarking on a stakeholder process. So all of your comments, we're listening, we're taking the comments down, and it's a process. So we hope to work with you in this process.
Thank you, Sherry. Are there any other members of the public at this time who would like to express a concern, comment, question, or statement before we transition over to board members to have some questions? So speak now. This is the moment. I really want to thank everyone for the respect and the decorum here tonight. I'm looking online. I see no other individuals who are members of the public with their hands raised. Going once, going twice. And I will now recognize, first off, there have been very patient board members who have had their hand raised online. First is, I will recognize board member Karumi Apana Aki, followed by board member Sverchina. Remember, you do have 2 minutes. Go ahead.
I want to thank everyone who has given testimony today, especially for our students who are high school students here in Mililani. As a former teacher, high school teacher at your school of many decades ago, I was so very thrilled when they decided to take interest in ag lands and being able to teach children sustainability in agriculture. And many years later, we saw the migration of peoples trying to do wonderful things of bringing food from the fields to the school. And it was farm to school programs that made everything come even more alive. And the fact that you all mixed it in with the Hawaiian culture, I say what a wonderful thing that you've all done and you continue to strive for. And that is a wonderful thing. And I'm so once again thrilled to see that our students have come this far to appreciate such. My next issue here goes to SFA, and my question is this. Was there any consideration of locating your affordable housing unit to an area where teachers have indeed, schools that have a shortage of teachers? And I'm assuming there are places like the Waianae side, where you're trying to attract more teachers to teach in the outskirts. I'm going to guess that it's not as difficult finding teachers to come to Mililani as it would be for them to go to Waianae or out to Kailua or somewhere else, or even to Kapolei. So was there ever a consideration to go there? And that's a rhetorical question because I'm sure you have an answer for it. But I'm also saying that I don't think it's even a good idea to put teacher housing on school property. There's better uses for students to use land in different ways other than to have units that are as high as 4 stories to be built on school property. It opens up a Pandora's box of trouble.
Kurumi, that's 2 minutes. Could you please quickly summarize?
So in summary, I'm saying you're going to cause a lot of danger. Busy intersection. You're going to maybe have to open up these units to people who have nothing to do with the Department of Education. And then when you do that, you're going to be inviting all kinds of dangerous things into our community, and we don't need that. So I think that you should move your idea to another place. That's
Thank you.
We thank you for your comments. The law that we are working under does specify that the project be done on Mililani High School campus. And again, the purpose of the project is to make it affordable. That's what we're trying to do. I just want to reiterate again, what was proposed is a proposal. And your comments that you're making now are valuable because we do want to get everybody's input so that we can hear everyone's concerns and try to address them as best as possible. So we hear you, and we look forward to working with the community and this board going forward.
Mahalo. Board member Sverchina, please proceed. You have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, thank you for your presentation. I absolutely agree with all the concerns from the general public, from the teachers and students. I think it's totally wrong pick of the place. You know, the affordability, you the word to me is totally misused. You know, this is not affordable for teachers. I have two specific questions. First of all, I'm house builder as well, and you know, we are limited in Mililani to 25 feet. Would this building be also limited? And number two question is, was there any bidding process before this Pacific, what was it, Pacific Housing? Is it corporation or is it nonprofit? Was there any bidding where this Pacific Housing was selected? That's all. Thank you.
So I'm not able to answer the first question. I'm not sure, and I can get back to you. But regarding the process, it was a request for proposal process to try to find a partner to work with who would fulfill the parameters of what the law said and what we designed the RFP to be, which was, again, affordable housing for teachers and to have it on Mililani High School campus. So there was a process of application and awarding a winning proposal, which would best suit that those parameters of the RFP.
And could you please, for the record, say the name of the winning bidder who got the project?
The awardee is the Pacific Housing Assistance Corporation, and they are a nonprofit corporation that has over 40 years of affordable housing experience.
Thank you.
Yeah, I see that we have 3 more board members online who have been very patient and had their hands raised this entire time during the public testimony. I know we have quite a few board members here, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to recognize the 3 board members with their hands raised, and then we're going to turn it into the board members who are here in person, okay? So board member Nehe, followed by board member Freed, and finally board member Darsha Lee, 2 minutes each. Please proceed, board member Nehe.
Thank you, Madam Chair Bass, Ms. Nakamura. First, I was for it for the teachers and the DOE staff to have an affordable place to live. But after talking to the teachers, I learned that they were not made aware of this, learned about it from the newspaper. Considering the school is already over capacity with a student, maybe building on this campus may not be such a great idea. My concern is they can't, if DOE cannot rent it, it becomes open to the public. What if they have a marijuana permit to smoke? They're a smoker, they're a drinker, or they're a registered sex offender, not on probation, or has restriction, because you cannot discriminate against them then. Would also like to know, has Principal Murphy met with the developer to discuss their campus site? After listening to all these amazing testimonies, I don't think this is such a great idea to use this school as a location. It's prime property. Thank you.
Josie, you might need to restate your question. That was a little choppy. Principal Murphy has stood up and understands that there's a question to him. Principal Murphy?
Yes, I
Could you
wanted
repeat
to
the
know.
question? Thank you.
Hi, Principal Murphy. I want to know if you were able to meet with the developer to discuss their campus sites, that they were able to listen to you and your ideas before considering this, because from what I remember, I don't think this location was on the original discussion.
So I'll start with your end statement there. This was not a site that was offered by the school originally. We did offer three different sites. We were not involved in the bid process in terms of the selection process. I did find out, like the public, who was selected when it was announced in various ways through the media, and got to meet with the Pacific Housing Authority the day after it was in the media. I cold called them and introduced myself. I have now met with them twice and giving input now about what kinds of benefits I'd like to see if the project is on our campus. Well, looking for benefits that will help or enhance our campus regardless of where the site is at this time. I'm not sure if I'm answered your question entirely. Do you have a follow-up?
Yes, you've answered my question. Thank you. And I think your input would be highly considered in this situation. Thank you.
Board Member Freed, 2 minutes.
Hi, Beth. Aloha, everybody. I'm Ann Freedom, grateful member of this board. And first, I want to thank Jerry for being here and listening, at least correcting a process that seems to be fraught with error. And secondly, I want to say I'm inspired by the community's turnout. We can make a difference if we show up, but we can't make a difference if we don't. So I just want to have maybe 3 questions. Let me see if I can remember them. So the first one is, I think we need to make it clear that the intent of this legislation from the 2 senators who proposed it was affordable housing for teachers so that we can retain teachers here in Hawaii because of the huge turnover that we had. And since we have heard now that once again, the developer, even though this seems to be a nonprofit, it sounds like they're not very good at their job, because this is clearly not affordable housing. And as has been said before, developers have done this in the past, as they say affordable, which it isn't, because the formula is flawed for affordable housing. And then when people can't afford those units, they turn them, then they're free to do whatever they want with them. And they rake in huge profits and bring in people who make a lot of money and in this case, are not teachers. So Chair, I have 3 questions for you. One is, I guess maybe only one. Who in your organization is responsible for making the final decision about this? Is it SFA? Is it the executive director? Is it your board? Or is it DOE at the highest level of DOE? And then the other question I have is, are you planning to ask for other proposals, and how many did you get originally?
What I can say is that a final development agreement will be made with HISFA, the state agency, and Pacific Housing, the partner we will work together to do this project. Again, we had an RFP process where we opened it up to offerers, and there were offers, and it was narrowed down to priority list, and then awardee was chosen. So a lot of what you're saying, again, we're taking all of the comments down, but again, I think it's this is a new process that people aren't used to. It is a partnership with a state agency and a private entity, which is different from what people might be used to. So we, again, apologize for not being more forthright in communicating the context and the process. Again, we are engaging on a stakeholder process, and we thank you for the opportunity for being here. We are listening, and we're taking your comments in. And again, we hope to address concerns that we've heard tonight, as well as concerns that will come up in the ongoing stakeholder engagement.
So I didn't hear an answer to my question. Who in your organization makes the final determination?
It's, again, it's an entity and an entity agreement. So there's not one person, it's the organizations that together make the decision. And the entities are made up of individuals. So
you take a vote? Is that what you're saying?
No, we don't take a vote, but it is a representative of the entity that will make the final decision on behalf of the entity.
What entity are we? I'm very confused. What entity?
So Hawaii School Facilities Authority, which is a state agency.
Yes.
That's the state agency, and the partner is the Pacific Housing Assistance Corporation, which is the entity that for which the proposal was awarded to.
So that's not going to change. They make the decision, you're saying.
And you're going to get a second round. Okay. We're going to move on to board member Darsha Lee. Go ahead.
Thank you, Chair Bass. So my husband is a public school teacher. I 100%, support affordable housing for teachers or raising their salaries. My question is, what was the specific calculation that was used to decide what was affordable for teachers? Entry-level teachers, they make like $52,000. That's before taxes. If a studio is priced at like almost $2,000 per month, that's $24,000 a year. I'm just not understanding the math in it. So if there is a specific calculation that they use, I think it would be helpful to share that with the public.
I'm not sure what specific calculation was used, but it is difficult to quantify what affordable is, especially when we are still in the beginning stages of a plan and a proposal. So your feedback is very important. I think we're hearing that teachers make a certain salary, and this information will be helpful for us to try to strive to what the aim of the program is, which is to create and build affordable housing for teachers.
Okay, that concludes the board members online who've had their hand raised. It's 8:51. I appreciate everyone's patience and respect tonight. Thank you. I'm going to open up to board members in person who would like to ask questions. Again, there's 2 minutes, and I just want to remind everyone it's about 8:51 p.m. We have a full agenda, and this meeting concludes no later than 10:30 p.m. With that said, Mary Smart, board member, please proceed.
Okay, thank you. Can we as stakeholders have input to limit the number of units that would be put, on this property? And I'd like to know, can we limit those who can use, rent in this facility to those teachers who teach in Mililani? I'll leave it. It's those two.
Your input is welcomed. We want to hear your input. So those comments will be considered when we do our formal stakeholder engagement process.
Okay, board member Dennis Kim, please proceed.
I'll make this real quick. If you're going to build 100-something units, number one, I think the testimony has been that we don't want it on the ag land. I think that's definitely okay. But the question is, if it's also on Mililani High School campus, no matter where you go, you're going to have the same kind of feedback and pushback. So this sounds like it's going to be a little bit like the Aloha Stadium. It's going to get delayed, and then there's going to be additional costs. There's going to have to be a lot more, input by other community organizations. And so I think, you're going to need a variance. If you're going to go up 5 stories, I don't think Mililani allows anything above 3 stories. And so you have to have a variance to go above 3 stories. And that requires more, legal input. It's going to delay. You're going to have more, opposition, if you will, to that kind of stuff. And so my question is, if we don't want to end up like Aloha Stadium and maybe even the rails of some people, I think the other thing is take all that money and give it as subsidies to people coming from the mainland to go to those places that they're going to be working at, and that subsidy is going to cost a lot less than building a new thing, going through all the legal ramifications, paying all the lawyers, and be able to come back and give what Hawaii really needs, and that's affordable housing to teachers, as opposed to the private corporations or nonprofit organizations. And so my input is just that there seems to be, I was reading the documents here, just a lot of questions pop up in my mind. So I think I'll just share that with you.
Thank you for your input. We hope to be not like other state projects that have gone on and on and on. So hopefully we can learn from those experiences, but your input is welcome. Thank you very much.
Just want to share a friendly reminder, the neighborhood commission, our neighborhood assistant has shared with us today that board members can address questions to the presenter, right? So not comments. Let's refrain the comments, and we'll only provide questions. With that, any other board members? Member Among.
Was there, okay, affordable housing is the key words here we're talking about. The teachers surely deserve that. I actually feel that the teachers and the residents of Hawaii working class deserve affordable housing, period. Maybe we need capping and capping on the prices and that stuff, but that'll come later, maybe. Have you really took time to look at other locations besides be set on having it in Mililani High School? I mean, is there other options that could possibly be brought to the table instead of having your heart set on Mililani High School property? Thank you.
This is a initial pilot project, and it was decided that Mililani would be the first pilot project.
Sherry, could you restate that this is in compliance with the session law that was passed?
So Act 172 was the law which directed the HISFA to build affordable teacher housing on school lands. And actually there were 3 sites determined, Mililani High School, Nanakuli High School, and Waipahu High School, but Mililani became the initial pilot project site.
Mahalo. All right, any other board members? Board member Flores, please.
I just have one quick question. When I saw the rents, they looked not affordable, really, just to be honest. And when these rents were set down, these amounts, you know, up to 3,000, 2,000, whatever it was it looked at, well, I should say, were the teacher salaries considered or a percentage taken to come up with these rent amounts? For example, in a public housing project or anything subsidized, it would be like 30% income. So, you know, were the teacher salaries taken into account?
I just want to mention that nothing is set, and so whatever numbers are out there are not the final numbers. I don't exactly know the process of what the Pacific Housing went through. However, they are entity that has over 40 years of experience in building affordable housing projects. So I feel confident that they have the know-how to be able to look across. And again, we are receiving stakeholder input, and the goal is to truly create affordable housing for teachers. And so all of those things will be considered as we move forward.
Board member Marilyn Lee.
Thank you, ma'am. My question is, what was the role of the steering committee in choosing the site that is possible in the steering committee?
There is a steering committee, which is made up of mostly legislators, but there are other stakeholders like the DOE, and also Chair Bass recently joined a steering committee. Again, it's a group of stakeholders, mostly legislators, who are following the project and also providing input. Location has not been decided. If you're talking about location of Mililani High School, that was made by by lawmakers. So nothing has been finalized regarding the location of the site on Mililani High School campus. The steering committee, again, is made up of area legislators, other legislators, the DOE, not Pacific Housing, HISFA is on it too. And it is not all the legislators, but we have legislators from this area, as well as, I think it's mostly the legislators from this area.
Sherry, could you clarify the role of the steering committee?
So the steering committee is like another group of stakeholders. So as we progress forward, we're going to have various groups of stakeholders. And I think of that steering committee as a stakeholder of legislators who are either related or connected to this project. But we also have other members like DOE and community leaders as well.
like to insert just one clarification since my participation was mentioned. I did participate in a steering committee meeting that was, I believe, a week ago, 2 weeks ago or so. I'm not sure of the date, if you could state it. That is the third steering committee meeting that I understand it to be. It is organized by SFA's consultant Wilhelm's group, right? I asked to be on it because I've heard about this steering committee and I was worried that community wasn't represented. So I actually contacted Senator Kidani in her office. She is a member of a steering committee, her office attends. I also contacted Senator Dela Cruz's office with the same request. And I also contacted Lieutenant Governor Sylvia Luke's office with the same request. And I've been in working with Principal Murphy in that steering committee so that I could be participating on that to make sure that the SFA, its consultants and contractors are aware of the concerns that have been expressed. So I've only attended one meeting thus far.
Yes, and again, this is a pilot project. We are learning as we're going, and we're hearing everybody. I was thrilled to hear that Chair Bass could participate and is participating, and she can certainly be a representative of this community.
Okay, continuing on with questions. Member Segura.
Are your steering committee meetings required to follow sunshine law?
No, it's a stakeholder meeting, just as going forward, we'll have other various groups of stakeholders that will convene and discuss the project, discuss the progress of the project and also provide input.
I see board member Ashley Trotter has a question online. Please proceed, Ashley.
Hi, thank you. So I also want to start by saying I'm a social studies teacher in middle school, and hearing the students tonight, I'm very, very proud of all of that. So thank you, students. I have a question. Moving forward, after hearing all of the testimony that is clearly in opposition for this, what are the next steps?
Again, the next steps are to start a more formalized stakeholder engagement. Of course, we heard you tonight, but we are going to do a more formalized stakeholder process where we will gather more input and hear your concerns and move forward as to, for example, figuring out where the location will be. So we will continue to move forward and we will continue to hear your input.
Any other questions from board members? Board member Gustafson.
Just a yes or no answer will be sufficient. I don't need an explanation. Has a contract with the developer and SFA been signed?
No.
So you're technically saying that a contract has not been awarded?
A proposal has been awarded.
Has
not
a contract been awarded?
No, the contract, I shouldn't say, the contract has not been agreed upon and signed.
So there's nothing in writing between the developer and SFA, so SFA could cancel with the developer currently?
I cannot answer that question because I am not familiar with all of the Hawaii state procurement laws, but we are following the procurement laws, and that's all I can say. We are following the law.
Principal Murphy, are you aware of any contract between the developer and SFA?
I don't know if I can answer your question adequately either. I know the language that has been used with me is that a request for proposals went out. They had multiple proposals. A proposal was selected. That's all I really know.
Are you aware of whether or not the proposal included a specific site or was just a general partnership agreement?
The proposal has a specific site on it at this time, yes.
What site does it name?
The agricultural site.
Thank you. And then one last question. Did the HSTA agree that the 80% to 120% AMI is a reasonable, affordable allowance?
I can't answer that either. I wasn't in discussions with HSTA, so I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
Okay.
Any other board members with questions? Any other board members for questions? Board member Ozawa.
Thank you. So it's clear that the concerns raised tonight are not just on the merits of the project, but also, or its location, but the community engagement process that you've mentioned several times in your presentation. Just to make a quick question, as SFA learns from their mistakes and we do move forward, like one of the previous questions mentioned, and discussions continue, if the feedback from the community continues to be a rejection of the project in its current form, is it SFA's intention? Can SFA commit to making those changes to the proposal and listening to the community feedback?
I don't think a commitment can be made for anything at this point. Again, we're at the proposal stage. We're listening to community feedback, and we want to hopefully move forward with everyone. And that's really all I can commit to at this time.
Any other board members with questions? Board Member Ross.
I just have two quick questions. First, on your diagram, it seems very lacking between August of 2023 and your estimated date of development, but it sounds like you guys already kind of have a plan of what all three stakeholders are kind of explaining to do. So I would ask that if possible, maybe you could email us all or give it over to the neighborhood board commission. What's in this giant gap? Just because right now the notice of award was done, but there's nothing on here saying we're going to reach out to the public. All these things that you're saying, like, I understand you don't have the exact dates, but at least give us an estimate of whatever it is, whenever you want, whenever it kind of gets a little, just because it seems to me that a lot of people are just in the dark, and it seems as if that was the biggest issue. And I think this doesn't help us get out of the dark. It just keeps us more in the dark, because all I see is three gears moving with nothing else on it. You know what I mean?
I understand that is good feedback for us.
Yeah. And then the second question I have is, once the facility is built, wherever it may be, and on all future facilities for every single high school out there, one, are they going to be state buildings? And if they are, two, are they going to follow all the future sustainable goals that the state has proposed and done? Because if you're going to replace agricultural land with a house, that house needs to be sustainable. We shouldn't be feeding off the grid. We shouldn't be using up more water than we should have. These teachers should feel the fact that, that their place is going to stay where it is. And these state buildings all have these large state laws that are going to be coming up. Is a developer taking these into action and making sure that the buildings are going to be the way they're supposed to be, so that way we can keep them maybe LEED certified, even diamond LEED certified, or whatever possible they can be?
I'm not able to answer that at this time, but we will certainly take that input, and I'm assuming that all sustainability, as much as possible, all to the extent possible, sustainability guidelines or goals will be met to the extent possible. And I know that Chair Bass is the state.
And I am not in that capacity.
Oh, okay.
Yes, full disclosure, I am the state employee sustainability coordinator, but in tonight's meeting, I am the chair of the neighborhood board, and I did not ask that question.
But the buildings will be state owned.
We're not sure yet, so we have to. Everything is still in negotiation. Yeah.
Any other questions from neighborhood board members? Any questions from the neighborhood board members? Okay, so that is first round. If there are any neighborhood board members who would like to have another 2 minutes, this is your second round. Looking online, looking in person. Any other neighborhood board members would like a second round of questions? Kurumi, please proceed. 2 minutes.
Hi, could you explain the AMI as it pertains to Mililani?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
If you could explain to us what AMI stands for, I know it's an acronym, and explain to me why it's used in a formula.
AMI is area median income.
AMI is area median income. I mean, I'm not an expert on affordable housing, but you can find a AMI sort of table on the Hawaii Housing Finance Development Corporation website, HHFDC. That's in flux too. It changes every year, but area median income tables are provided on state websites such as HHFDC's. So
Is that a community specific thing? The AMI?
I am not sure, but I believe it may do county, Honolulu County, for example. I'm not sure if it does specific communities or if it lists specific communities.
Any other questions from board members? Okay, seeing and hearing none. I really want to thank you, Sherry, for this presentation. This is a wonderful preliminary presentation. Thank you for coming to the neighborhood board and the Mililani community. Thank you for taking some hard questions, and a lot that there have, as I've communicated with you, right, there have been many community concerns, and Principal Murphy has also communicated that. So we welcome you to Mililani. Thank you for listening to the community as well as the neighborhood board. Appreciate your time and the SFA's time for being here. And I just wanted to thank everyone here tonight for the respect and decorum that was expressed tonight in this preliminary meeting for the SFA's proposed development. And there will be, I just want to make that clear, this is a preliminary discussion. There's not going to be any action taken by this board tonight on this matter. This is just to bring public awareness of the SFA's involvement here in Mililani High School. So thank you, Sherry.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Mahalo. Okay, it is 9:11. We're going to move on. So I just want to thank everyone again. We're going to move on to presentations, section C. A presentation related to the Hawaii Country Club's Luau in Kunia that will be made by the City and County of Honolulu DPP, Department of Planning and Permitting. Is there a representative from the Department of Planning and Permitting available online to make their presentation?
Yes, I'm here. This is Dawn Apuna from DPP.
I'm sorry, restate, we're having some audio issues.
Dawn Apuna from DPP.
Oh, Director, welcome. Thank you. Please proceed. You have 5 minutes.
So I'm not sure, well, I kind of understand some of the concerns at this property. So I will just state that there have been complaints made as far back as last calendar year, to which we've sent out inspectors and issued notices of violation for building without permits, grading violations, and use violations. There's about 12 or so violations on the property. Some have been corrected, others have not, including the luau use, which is not allowed in the agricultural district. Some of these violations have moved to notice of order, which are fines that are accumulating daily. And because we aren't getting much compliance from the operator of the luau and the landowner, we have also issued a cease and desist letter in August. And the most recent enforcement that we've taken is we have filed a complaint in court to basically, it's an injunction to force the operator and owner to comply with our orders. So I'll just stop there. And I think if anything, maybe there's questions that I can answer specific to this property and what's happening on property. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Apuna. Okay, so same rules apply, right? We want this standardized. So if there are questions from the public, right, this is going to be 2 minutes. Questions, comments, concerns, statements, you can direct it to the presenter. but address it to the board, right? And then following members of the public in their 2 minutes, we're going to go to members of the board, right? And they will only be able to ask questions. So with that, are there any questions for Director Apuna from the DPP regarding the Hawaii Country Club Luau in Kunia? Members of the public, questions, comments, concerns, statements? Please stand with the, yes, please introduce yourself, name for the record.
Aloha, my name is Tom Berg, and I have a community concern about this.
Yes.
This is a very serious matter. If you look at your board packet, Kunia Road is not designed for tour buses, doesn't have lighting, doesn't have shoulder lane, doesn't have a turn lane, and you'll see that tour buses that utilize the outdoor concert venue, because that's what it is. People pay up to $200 for reserved seating to see a concert venue. So they use electrification to amplify musical instruments and voice. So back in 2018, Mililani Golf Club was told they can't have outdoor music to cease. Hawaii Prince Golf Club, also the same. Hawaii Country Club, also the same. All of a sudden, you got on board, Director Apuna. And in December of 2023, you saw that there was an outdoor concert 5 nights a week. And you decided not to enforce for 9 months. The concert at Hawaii Country Club, DPP issued $1,000 fines 3 days after the event. Councilmember Ron Minor, you may remember, Councilmember Ron Minor was livid that ag lands are being used for amusement activity. So the luau, I have a packet here, was informed in October of 2022 that the luau was illegal. And if you look at my packet, I went to the legislature and I wrote 3 bills to try to legalize a luau. So for 4 years, I tried to get it done the right way, to have culture in the arts so they could get a permit and they could come and do it legally. So my question to you is, Director Apuna, the $1,000 a day fine that's being levied on the luau organization outdoor concert venue, HRS chapter 205-13 says the maximum fine for a violation of HRS 205-4.5. Yeah, no, my question is, it says the maximum fine is $5,000 for this violation. Are you following state law, or are you limiting your fines to that $5,000 to adhere to state law? That's kind of hasn't been answered at this time.
I'm following county law. So state law, we cannot enforce until we adopt rules to take advantage of the $5,000, the limit up to $5,000. I'm enforcing the county law.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who would like to address the city and county DPP with any questions, concerns, comments, or statements at this time? Yes, please introduce yourself for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Hi, my name is Brandon Suku. I'm part of the management of Malcolm Warriors Luau. I suppose this is a statement. A couple months ago at this neighborhood board meeting, one of the members asked a very good question. Why is Tom Berg so passionate about this issue? What is the connection? Many of us have been bombarded by many emails from Tom Berg recently alleging the illegal luau activity. And I wanted to share some brief context. We signed our contract with the Hawaii Country Club in February 2023 when Tom Berg was serving as the general manager of the golf course. In fact, I have his signature right here on the contract, appropriately representing Hawaii Country Club on February 3rd. We enjoyed correspondence and consistent support from Tom Berg through most of 2023, clear up until November 17th, 2023, where Tom Berg parted ways on very bad terms with the golf course. The next morning, Tom Berg woke up the strongest advocate in Hawaii for compliance at the Hawaii Country Club. Not compliance all over the island, as a good citizen helping out. Compliance only at his previous place of employment, where he appears to have a vast knowledge of illegal activity. Why does it matter? Where do we go from here? The luau is preparing to begin shows elsewhere at the beginning of 2025, as we are in final conversations with other venues. As been previously mentioned, we are being levied fines of $1,000 per day, which is a devastating amount of money for a new small business. Our request for DPP is simple. Please do not escalate the situation further. There is simply nothing to gain. There are a lot of people being impacted by this. It's not just our staff that is being impacted by this. We employ our staff, but we also provide meaningful income to over 15 other local businesses.
Thank
such
you.
as
That's been 2 minutes. Please summarize.
our summary is to please not escalate the situation. There are over 300 people being impacted by this, and there is simply nothing to gain but the vengeance of one man against his previous employer. Please allow us to relocate in peace.
Thank you. Thank you, Brandon.
All right.
Statement made by Brandon. Are there any other members of the public at this time who would like to address the board and the DPP with any questions, statements, comments, or concerns related to this matter? Members of the public. This also applies to members of the public online. Please raise your hand. Okay, seeing and hearing none, I'm going to try. That concludes. Oh, is there a member of the public? Please introduce yourself for the record. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Aloha, I'm Kiri. I'm the president of the luau. I want to share this with the community too. The word luau is not really well received, the notion, because of it's more, to some people, it's touristic. Okay. I was in charge of the choreography, and I want to share this with our community. Okay. We want to raise the bar. We sat down and we look at the history of the place. The theme of our luau is the Battle of Kipapa. Yes, not many people know about it. Yes, we didn't really just do this for this. We're a couple of local guys who have the talent in dancing, not big operation from the mainland. So we knew this, and after COVID, we realized that tourism is actually twisting. We need value. It's not just luau is viewed as drinking Mai Tai, looking at the hula girls with coconut shells and the sunset. No, excuse the language. So what we did was we studied this place. Is Samuel Kamakau sit over there for some of you. He actually wrote about it. He's a Hawaiian historian. Also, Abraham Fernandez, he wrote about this place. So what happened is overshadowed by the history of King Kamehameha, right? Now, I mean, no offense, because it's 1795, we all learn about the conquering of Oahu. What happened before that? 1410, there was a war here in our backyard. And we want to tell the history of that place. So imagine sitting on that luau. It's a battleground. It started from Waikalalaua, Waimano, and ended up in Honolulu. There were some protests about that at the time too, from some of the locals, but not many big supporters, because not many people know about this history. It's Pohilo, the victory place of this island. That's what we told in this luau, because it tells about it. And who's telling it? Us, the community. Nobody else. So we're telling the story. We tell the people, while you're sitting, the thing shakes, because this is the battleground. Take you back. So tourists leave knowing that the best souvenir to take back with you home is knowledge about our cultures and our islands. It's priceless. Amen.
Thank you. And thank you. That finishes your 2 minutes. I see that there's a member of the public online, Mr. Justin Salcedo. Please, in relation to this, please proceed.
Hello,
Yeah.
I'm actually for the luau. I would say it's very much so an impact into the community, as well as making sure that there is jobs for the local families, right? So if you was to affect this luau, especially the transition, however short that they have, $1,000 is a lot, and it does feed families, and it does feed the mouths of your people. So, to the DPP office, by all respect, we do have a relationship with each other, and this is a historical event that's always happening every night, and it's actually storytelling. But who is actually affected here? Is it the people on top of the mountain, the residents that's over there? Is it actually legal for them to be on those grounds because it's supposed to be occupied? Is those ag lands supposed to be residential? Are those people getting affected? If that's the case, then the person who spoke up against the luau, besides of his history there, I mean, we have more history over there, and we can tell it if you just show up. Go ahead, please. I applaud you guys to go ahead and check out this luau, and you might have a different understanding of what is being told. That's all I have to say. Aloha.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public would like to speak on this matter, address any questions, concerns, comments, or statements at this time? Please introduce yourself. You have 2 minutes, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is James. I am a member of the Malco Warrior Luau. I just want to state, with everything being said, as a former member but now a complainer, I just want to state you shouldn't do this to us. My kids come with me to work. They're allowed to come with me to work. A lot of us struggle in life to find a babysitter. Yeah. This place opened up so much opportunities for families to be together and work together. We did nothing wrong to this guy. We asked that he's also us luau workers just trying to provide for our family. We love what we do. We brought up the way that we brought up. What better way to share with the tourists what we learn on the inside than to send them to places where they can get robbed? Send them to beaches where our locals don't appreciate. But we can educate them and show them what we do in the islands that they have a better understanding. That's what we are doing here. I ask that leave our families alone and just let it go already. Your anger is not with us, it's with other people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I see that there are 2 individuals online. Individual with username guest, please state your name for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Hi there, my name's Jeremy Suku, and I'm an investor and advisor to the luau. We heard a lot of comments earlier today for the housing topics. We have quite a few strong opinions in the community about the luau as well. Since those all couldn't be shared in this meeting, we have documented statements of support of over 500 members of the community. I believe that's been submitted already to the board. If not, please let us know. But it's signatures and stories and members of the community how they've been impacted. The request is just to make it through the holidays, the Christmas season, before the luau relocates. So luau plan to relocate anyway in January. Is it that important to stop luau before then? Is a question that we have. So. Wanted to ask DBP about the timeline. I believe there was a court filing as well. So just to kind of make this statement about the community support, the written statements, and then ask DBP about the timeline.
Dawn, if you're still available, that question was addressed to the DPP.
So are you referring to the court filing that we made?
That's right.
It was filed today.
Okay, thank you. I see username Elaine who has her hand raised. Please state your name for the record, and you have 2 minutes. Thank you.
Aloha, this is Elaine's phone, but my name is TJ. I'm a resident of Wahiawa, and my lineage comes from that area. And this is just a statement. While I get the story of the luau is what they want to tell, I think like every other event that needs DPP approval, the owners of the luau, the managers of the luau should have done their due diligence prior to the luau becoming full-blown before they started selling it to the tourists, selling it to the public. We're not saying don't tell the story. And if you're going to speak about Waikakalaua, and if you're going to speak about Honouliuli, then you need to learn how to pronounce these names correctly. So we're not against the luau per se, but we are, I think the statement is that you have to follow the rules within the county and the district where you are going to want to legally operate, because at the end of the day, if things are not done correctly, the deepest pockets belong to the state of Hawaii and the city and county of Honolulu should there be a catastrophic accident. Because I remember when there were concerts there pre-COVID, when there were fights in the parking lot, when there were drunks all over the road after the concerts. So I get where DPP is coming from. I get where these people who work at the luau are speaking about, but the owners, the managers, the directors of the entities that are running the luau, and the owners and managers that own the golf course should have known better and gotten the proper permits before any construction was done. Thank you very much.
Mahalo. Are there any other individuals, members of the public, who would like to have address their questions, comments, concerns, or statements at this time for 2 minutes?
We're
not going to have 2 rounds for the members of the public. I'm sorry. So are there any other individuals who would like to express a question, comment, concern, or statement relating to this presentation? Sir, please proceed. State your name for the record. You have 2 minutes.
Hello, DPP. My name is Toons. I'm actually I sing for a group called Rebel Soldiers here in Hawaii. I'm also a part of this Mocha family, and the fact of the matter is there's one person who's trying to kill everything that this family's built off of the simple fact that he doesn't get to benefit off of it anymore. He was a part of the whole thing from the get. And to comment on that lady, you're right. They should have been more thorough about how we did this thing. But besides that, the only reason why we're going through all of this is because that guy got fired.
Please address your comments to the board. Thank you.
Mahalo, mahalo. My bad. This is the first time I've ever been to this, and I'm not a person to stand up for myself like that.
Thank you. Yeah.
But I just want to, hey,
I'd like to ask for order in this meeting.
you better
Mr.
calm
Berg.
down, better.
Mr. Berg,
You better calm down, better.
thank you.
Hey,
Members of the public.
Tom.
This is
Tom.
not,
Don't besmirch my name.
members of the public will address their comments, concerns, statements to the chair, this neighborhood board, or the DPP who
All
is
right.
the presenter.
My bad. He's
There
the
will
one
be
that's
no
being
exchanges
disrespectful.
in this public.
Yeah, my
Thank
bad.
you.
I'm sorry. Like I said,
Mr. Berg, thank you.
hey, shut up.
Sir,
How about that?
that is enough. Are there
I'm
any?
done.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other individuals, residents of the public who would like to address any questions, comments, concerns, or statements to this neighborhood board, me, and the DPP? Okay, seeing and hearing none, that concludes public comment. We will turn this over for questions only by the neighborhood board members. Okay, I see that I have neighborhood board members with their hands up online. Member Svirchina, please proceed. You have 2 minutes.
Just simple comments. I mean, it looks like that the location was the major selling point to the tourists because of the historical value. So, I wonder if they're gonna relocate, if they're gonna get the same revenue, which is something I read from Mr. Berg's emails. I have no idea how much they charge per person, or if it's true that they are making like 150,000 a day. Obviously, in that light, $1,000 fine would be nothing, of course. But I'm wondering about the historicity. If the place is so important for the Hawaiian culture and it's the selling point for the tourists, if it's gonna affect the future location. But obviously, you know, I won't get the answer today, but at least this is what I'm thinking. I yield, that's all. Thank you.
Mahalo, Member Spurgeon. Are there any other questions? I see that Member Ann Freed has her hand up.
Okay, so this is one is for the chair and for our neighborhood assistant. Is I believe there is a requirement to disclose conflicts of interest by board members. I tried to find it, but I could not find it. So then that's my question. Isn't there a provision within sunshine laws that board members with conflicts of interest must disclose? That's part one. And part two is for DPP. It seems to me that in all the emails that we've gotten that there is a serious conflict, at least one and possibly many conflicts of interest in the parties involved here. So my question for DPP is, has there been a filing of a form of some kind stating their conflict of interest?
So like an ethical question?
Yes.
Is that what you're asking? An
Yes.
So from what I understand, there was a filing by Tom Berg with the Ethics Commission on me, but the Ethics Commission, from what I understand, cleared me of any ethical wrongdoing. I don't know if there's other complaints that he's made, but the one that he complained of me was cleared by the commission.
Now, Dawn, you're misunderstanding my question. So I'll be clear. It seems to me that with all of this testimony and the emails that we've heard, is that Mr. Berg has a conflict of interest in this matter. And it seems to me that it's a business matter, not something that the neighborhood board should be involved in. So my question is, has Mr. Berg, are you aware, DPP, or maybe our elected officials will wind up answering this, has Mr. Berg declared his conflict of interest in writing?
So that's not really under my jurisdiction, the DPP, to sort out these conflicts of interest, but I do know that there's been I've seen documents that show that he was working for the luau at some point and was trying to get entitlements for them. That's all I know.
Okay, thank you.
And you asked me a question regarding conflict of interest. Can you restate the question?
Okay, my question is, I know there is a provision somewhere which I could not find in either the Office of Information Practices or a neighborhood plan that board members with a conflict of interest must disclose that conflict of interest. It doesn't mean that they can't vote. It does mean that they have to disclose and say that they can be unbiased. So are you aware of where that provision exists, and has anyone come forward to make a statement that they have a conflict of interest?
Thank you for the question. I'm going to defer that to Neighborhood Assistant NCO's office, Rachel Cristobal.
So I don't have the word for word, but I do recall something like that. So I can pull it up, try to look for it. And luckily, we're not doing any board business on this topic, so I can look on that.
That would be good. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. Are there any other questions from Mililani Neighborhood Board members at this time? I see Josie Ka'anehe has her hand up. Please proceed, Josie.
Hi, question is for DP, but first of all,
I'm sorry, sir. We're now in the part where the neighborhood board members are going to be addressing questions to the DPP, the presenter of this topic, as well as to me, the chair of the board, right? So there are no questions that will be directed to members of the public. The board member finished, as I recall. I don't believe I'll have that answer today or tonight. Okay. We're going to continue on, right? Thank you. We're going to continue on with members asking questions to the DPP as well as this neighborhood board. Josie Ka'anehe is recognized. Please proceed. You have 2 minutes.
thank you. My question is going to be to DP. First of all, I do feel bad for the Mako Warrior luau being involved in this. My question is, during 2016, 2018, had a lot of EDMs at the Hawaii Country Club. Were they cited during that time for those?
Or I'm sorry, I missed it. What was it during 2016 to 2018?
Through 20 would utilize the place for EDMs, like rave, electric dance music. So they had a lot of concerts there. Were they cited at the time?
I'm not sure, and I'm not able to get into our database right now, but if there were reports and we were able to find evidence of that, we would have cited them.
Okay, because I think something stronger should be done to this location, because now this group here is being subject to this when this place was already utilized for other avenues that should not have been there. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Josie. Are there any other board members who would like to have a question? Member Smart, followed by Member Ross. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you. I've heard that there's going to be a new location in January. Does DPP know if a contract's been signed and if the new locations have all the required permits?
I do not know. You would probably need to ask the operator what they're doing.
No, the questions will be directed to DPP. Okay, Member Ross, you are recognized. Member Among, following Member Ross. Please proceed, Member Ross.
Good luck with your move and hope everything goes smooth. My question is for DPP. Should the neighborhood board, with conjunction with our city council members, should we be looking into possibly into the future, allowing DPP more access the way the state does to increase it from $1,000 to $5,000? Or are there any other revised statutes that maybe we should look into, or the council members should be looking into, to help you guys give you whatever you guys need to make sure that this event doesn't happen in the future, where people aren't getting to this point where it's just, it seems like if it's stalling and it's hurting our local members.
Thank you for that question. So we are looking across the board if we need to adjust our fines. We've done that for Monster Homes in the last year. I think we could do it for chronically, these scofflaws who do not want to comply. So we are looking at that ourselves, and we probably will propose higher fines for those that fail to comply. But thank you.
Thank you, Director. Member Among.
I want to ask the director, was there any electrical code violation fine record that could show that the permit, the underground conduit was not seen by a adequate permitted site person to make it legal as far as the electricity conduit underground?
So
I'm going to ask, excuse me, Director, I'm going to ask the members of the public to refrain their comments and so that we can continue to have a respectful meeting with decorum for all members here. Thank you. Director, please answer the question. Thank you.
So I believe that there was a building without a permit, a building permit, that a construction without a building permit, and so that violation is an umbrella over any kind of unauthorized work, including any electrical work. So basically the violation falls under the unpermitted work violation. As far as, I think Tom Berg has mentioned that we are not enforcing on any electrical violations. If there's a clear immediate threat to life and safety, say through some electrical work, we can do more, but at this point, it's covered on the unpermitted work. So they would need to correct that violation by coming in, applying for a permit, and then we would check the work based on the approved permit.
Thank you, Director. Any other questions from neighborhood board members? Oh, Rachel, you would like to respond to Member Freed's question?
Yes, so I found something in the neighborhood plan. It doesn't talk about the members of the public, but there is a disclosure about board members if they have a personal or private interest. If you want me to read that instead, or if that's not the one.
And is
Just put it in chat.
Put it in the
no,
chat.
please, no, for the record,
Okay.
please.
Okay, so in the neighborhood plan, it says disclosure. Any board member who knows he or she has a personal or private interest, direct or indirect, in any proposal before the board shall disclose the interest either orally or in writing to the board. The disclosure shall also be made a matter of public record before the board takes any action on the proposal. A member who makes any disclosure shall not be disqualified from participation in the discussion or vote on the matter. A member may choose to be recused. A recused member shall not participate in the discussion or vote.
Appreciate the clarification, and to answer your question, and no member of this neighborhood board has declared a conflict of interest to me prior to this meeting. We will continue on with neighborhood board member questions. I recognized, sorry, Member Dow, followed by Member Gustafson.
Yeah, this venue sounds like a real good, the luau and everything. Land is limited in Hawaii, on Oahu. And it sounds like a real good setup. What is the chances of correcting these violations and getting a variance for them to continue, go to the Land Use Commission and get the ability for them to continue? What is the chances of that?
So because it's an ag district, it is not allowed. It's not a permitted use. So they would probably have to get like a zone change, which isn't necessarily a sure thing. But yeah, they would have to change the zoning to allow that use.
Could they get a variance from the city and county to do it?
A variance is a very high standard, and it basically, one of the prongs of the variance standard is that you have no reasonable use of your land. And I think even without the luau, that parcel, there is reasonable use as is. So it would be a difficult standard to reach in order to allow the luau through a variance.
Okay.
Member Gustafson?
Yes, I was wondering if there's anything that this neighborhood board can do to help facilitate the luau's dealings with DPP, and whether or not, what's DPP's next steps moving forward and giving them the time to get their stuff together to move out instead of being fined daily.
I mean, I would encourage them to just stop operations immediately. They're clearly in violation. It's been months that this has been going on, and they've been aware that they're in violation. And I understand that there's families affected. I sympathize with them, but I'm a manager too, and it would be my responsibility to make sure that my operation was legally run. I don't have anything against the people that work there, but I hope that those managers and the operators do the right thing and comply with the law. I hope that they can do it quickly, and that would probably be the best solution. Just stop the violations, and if they're going to move on to another property where it's allowed, that's great.
So is there anything this board can do?
Just encourage them to comply with the law.
Any other questions from neighborhood board members to the DPP?
Sure.
Second round?
No, first time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, real quick question. The first presenter from the Malka Warriors mentioned that January. Oh, it's not on. Hello? Okay. So the question is there already a location that they're planning to move to? And what is the preparations for that move?
I am not aware of any answers to that. And I would ask the director if there's been any conversation of the current user, if they have any intentions to move. Director.
From my understanding, they are looking for a new location. And they're free to ask us if it's an appropriate location, which is probably what should have happened from the beginning. But I really don't know the details of what that new venue might be or that new location.
Okay, follow up to that. Assuming that they do have another place and they set up their operation there, will all the violations be dropped, or are you going to continue to pursue the violations, or what is the DPP plan for something like that?
Well, we have to treat everyone fair and equally. So the violations will continue until it's corrected. So that means the fines will continue to accumulate until the violation is corrected. So if they accumulate so many hundreds of thousands of dollars until they correct, then that's how much they're going to have to pay. The process is a notice of violation gives them notice of the violation, and we give them 30 days or so to correct. When they don't correct, that's when we issue fines. And those basically accrue on a daily basis. So it's not like we haven't given notice to them. They have been given a lot of time to correct. Like I said, they just need to correct to stop the fines to continue to grow.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, the presenter for this presentation is the DPP, as stated. Are there any other questions from the neighborhood board to the DPP at this time?
Previous presentation, you had a question for the principal. Are we under a different process and we're not allowed to ask questions?
In that incident, the state school facilities authority deferred to the principal. They were the presenter of that presentation. Are there any other questions for the DPP at this time from the neighborhood board? Okay, seeing and hearing none. There's no second round of questions from members of the neighborhood board. We will conclude this presentation from the DPP. Dawn, DPP Director, thank you so much for your presentation. It was very informative. And we will continue on with this board's agenda. It is 9:52 p.m. and we will move on to the approval of meeting minutes. Thank you, members of the public and everyone who has attended tonight so far for the respectful decorum at tonight's meeting. Okay, we're going to move on to the approval of minutes. I'm going to turn this over to the Board Secretary Gustafson. Please proceed.
The minutes were distributed. Any corrections? I have not been made aware of any, but I'm willing to take them now.
I move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Neighborhood assistant, you good?
No, who seconded that?
Seconded by Segura. NA, would you like to take the vote? Go ahead.
So I'm assuming that no one had no amendments, right? Okay,
None.
so we'll just pass the minutes as approved, as written. Thank you.
Excellent. The minutes are approved. We're going to move on to community concern section 5. Are there any individuals who would like to report of any events or concerns within this community? Any community member can come forward to express any comment or concern within decorum. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes each per issue for items not on the agenda. Mr. Burt.
Yeah, aloha, everybody. There is on the same property owner of the golf course owns 200 and some 6 acres next door. In your packet, you see under community concerns, this has been going on since over a year. There's what's called, if everyone knows where a PVT landfill is, if you know where the PVT landfill in Nanakuli is, it's a law that says anybody who demolishes a building, construction demolition waste, has got to be buried. You don't want asbestos blowing around, do you? So on that farmland of the same owner of the golf course next door, DPP has refused to cite for over a year of over 50 bins uncovered next to organic foodstuffs. So you got farmers growing food that we all eat, and there's 50 bins filled with possibly asbestos, lead paint, fiberglass, and it's illegal. And I have filed with DPP because, bottom line, I quit my job because of the illegal activities going on. So I'm really PO'd that I got besmirched here. So just letting you know that the second violation of community concern is there's an illegal paintball operation going on. So this is ag lands. Everyone was here talking about the priority of ag lands. Well, you aren't supposed to use ag lands for amusement activities, illegal dump sites, and the final one is a paintball. So again, DPP won't go and cite the paintball operation. So I've been inundating you board members because I'm not against you. I'm one who just wants equal enforcement. That's my gig. I've been wanting equal enforcement under the law. That's it. Got no other concerns. I got no personal agenda. I don't have a conflict of interest. I brought this to you because if everybody here eats anything from the Pacific Gateway Farms on Cunilla Road, be on the lookout for drifting asbestos on your
Thank you,
food.
Mr. Berg. That's been
And that's
2
a
minutes. Please
serious,
summarize.
this is serious. And DPP has been given so many complaints. I'm just trying to help them. I'm a community member trying to help us all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Berg. As mentioned by the DPP, they have sent out multiple notices of violation, 2 cease and desist orders, and they have informed state entities on this matter. So it is clear by their presentation they made today that they have been following the various enforcement requirements. I'd like to make a statement that this board is not an adjudicating board or body of any kind. This board is not an enforcement body. This board is an advisory board elected by this community. And yes, our jurisdiction does span from the Mililani town into Melemanu, into Waipio Acres, into, yes, this TMK within Cunilla. So thank you. And we are not an adjudicating or enforcement body. We are merely an advisory board. Moving on to any other members of the community who would like to report of any events or concerns within the community, please come forward and express your comment or concern within decorum. Limit your comments to 2 minutes per issue up for items not on the agenda. Thank you.
Aloha. My name is Sherry Hauser. I'm a current employee of Hilton Hawaiian Village. I've been an employee for 18 years. The Hilton Hawaiian Village is a Unite Here Local 5 union property. Our union contract is up, and after many months of unsuccessful negotiations, 1,800 of us walked off our jobs September 24th. So today marks 30 days of a labor dispute strike. It's hard work. We're walking back and forth, marching, chanting. Financial disparity is at this point, and we're facing. And, it takes a village to come together, and we march in solidarity. Hilton Hawaiian Village, just, some general knowledge, is no longer owned by Hilton Company and family. It's owned by Park Hotel and Resorts. It's a mainland real estate investment trust that consists of 41 premium properties, brands from Hilton to Hyatt to Marriott. And they they yield very high profit from their shareholders. They took advantage of us during COVID with cuts of staff, guest service, perks, amenities. These cuts have affected our workload in all departments, and it jeopardizes the safety and concern about our work environment. Every day, thousands of us hospitality workers struggle to get ahead, to provide the same level of service these guests pay for and deserve. We're fighting for a livable wage, permanent layoffs restored. We're overworked, understaffed, and undervalued. Today, what we ask is the community, friends, relatives, not to cross our picket lines, be in solidarity with us, no staycations, parties, events. Instead, please support the local working class of this community, the families of this island. It's a real struggle that we're facing right now. We just ask,
Thank
you
you.
know,
That's been 2 minutes. Please summarize.
thank you. We basically have a hardship fund. If anybody, whether they would like to donate directly, come out and support us on the picket line. We take water donations or anything else. We just ask for the community to support us. That is it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for expressing your concern. and
Mahalo.
comment. Thank you. Okay, I see that there is a member of the public online who has their hand raised with the username Elaine. Please state your name for the record. You have 2 minutes to express any comment or concern within decorum. Please limit your comments to 2 minutes per issue for items not on the agenda. Thank you.
Aloha Chair Bass. Thank you so much. This is TJ again. And actually, I just wanted to invite everybody to Haleiwa Gym on Saturday, November 9th. My company, Tita Ene Productions, along with the City and County of Honolulu, will be having a disaster preparedness event. And this event is a rescheduled event that was scheduled earlier for the summer. But we'll be there from 10 in the morning till about 3 in the afternoon. We'll have Ha'ima, HFD, organizations like Keola Mamo inside sharing information for disaster preparedness. And then we'll also have some small businesses out on the lawn sharing their wares. And also we have some kiddie games so that the kids can stay occupied while parents get good information. So again, Saturday, November 9th at the Haleiwa Gym, also known as the Waialua Community Association. Lots of free parking. Come spend the day on the North Shore and get information about being prepared for a disaster. Mahalo.
Mahalo, TJ. Are there any other individuals who would like to come forward and express any comment, concern within decorum? Please limit your comments to 2 minutes each per issue for items not on this agenda. Seeing and hearing none, we're going to move on. Thank you, everyone, for your respectful decorum tonight. We're going to move on to elected officials' reports. Acknowledging that it's 10 o'clock and we only have this facility till 10:30, I'd encourage elected officials with their reports to reduce the time of their reports if we can. Let's be considerate of each other's time. And if we are not able to finish this agenda by 10:30, the rest of the reports will be deferred. Please proceed. Nestor Garcia, representing Congressman Case. Welcome.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the board, those in the audience, and those watching online. I'm going to defer actually tonight to another colleague of mine. He is actually the Chief of Staff for Congressman Case. He's visiting here from Washington, D.C., Tim Nelson. Madam Chair, members of the board, you do have our written report. I only want to do one highlight before I turn it over to Tim, is that on November 25th, if you take a look at the public testimony that is being solicited for a project actually that was legislation that was introduced by Congressman Case to see if we can get a study designated for Kaina Point to make it a natural heritage site, the very first natural heritage site for the state of Hawaii. There are like 60 some odd sites across the country. It will be the very first one. Congresswoman Tokuda has actually introduced legislation to see if Lahaina can be designated as a natural heritage site as well. So with that, Madam Chair, I want to turn over to Mr. Nelson to see if you want to share any thoughts.
Mr. Nelson, welcome. And you have 2 more minutes.
Aloha. Thank you, Madam Chair, and members of the community. Thanks for letting me be here today. There's a lot of things I could talk about. The Congressman covers the span of the world, right, in his responsibilities as a huge Kuleana, right? I'll just kind of give a flavor of some of that breadth and then take any questions that you all might have either here tonight or after this meeting. I'll stick around for a little bit to take that for people. You know, just for example, the Congressman right now is working on funding issues. We haven't finished up our funding for the year. So he's actively working in negotiations to try to secure funding for the state of Hawaii. From big things such as continuations of the FEMA funding so Lahaina can continue its recovery, to small things such as funding of grants to state and county police officers so they can have equipment to take care of security concerns that we have in our community. But again, his world is so large. He just returned from overseas. He made a brief trip out to the Middle East. He went into Israel itself, visited in Saudi Arabia, Jordan, and Egypt to try to see the conflict over there himself. rather than hear it from other people. So took some risks to try to understand that and understand the concerns of the individual people being affected by those conflicts. You know, I could go on and on, but I do want to respect people's time. But again, hopefully that gives you the sense of the breadth of what we're trying to do, from the macro national level concerns down to the local community. And we are here to try to be your public servants. If you have questions, please always feel free to reach out to us, and we'll try to do our best to help all of you. Thank you.
Mahalo. Are there any questions? And this is going to go to both the public and the neighborhood board members. So are there any questions for Mr. Nelson representing Congressman Case in their report tonight? Member Ross.
Two quick questions. First, your federal funding for University of Hawaii helps us all. Is that for all of the different universities of Hawaii, or is that specifically just for Manoa? Because we have a very large breadth of different systems here, and I know all of them could desperately use whatever funding they could, especially when it comes to local individuals trying to get back into tuition, as well as Mililani High School students, staying here and actually taking that school. Second question I have is, so there's a report that came out that shows that electric vehicles weigh more than gas vehicles, and that the man-made barriers that are protecting the sides of the roads, those metal ones, are no longer sufficient at the weight in which electric vehicles are versus gas vehicles. And I've seen in the news multiple times that vehicles have just gone right through those barriers and they haven't really stopped. So I know there's this big coming out change of having them increase the capacity in which each load can actually hold. Now, I'm guessing because we're going to have to do this across the entire state of Hawaii, it's going to be very expensive. Is the federal government looking into doing something? And is there a way that, Ed Case is looking to making sure that, Hawaii can get a lot of this? Because here in Hawaii, we can get electricity very quickly from solar panels, and a lot more electric vehicles are being sold consistently. So I just want to know if that's on his radar and if he's trying to do anything for it.
For the University of Hawaii, it is the whole system. There's some programs that are specific to a Pacific campus, whether it's community college or Manoa, but some are broad. So, for example, Native Hawaiian education, the congressman helps secure funding for that, and that helps the whole system wide. So it really kind of is a piecemeal approach, but it's everything in the system, all locations. Your second question, I'll have to take back for the record. The federal government's reach on that will probably be somewhat restricted. Federal highways, they can set standards and then kind of enforce that upon a state, because most of those federal highways are funded through federal dollars. There are also dollars that provided to state highways, which would cover a lot of major roads and probably where those protective barriers would be. I'm offhand not aware of anything in the last surface transportation bill that dealt with that. It doesn't mean that there's not a study. I'll take that for the record, have the congressman's transportation expert answer that, and send it into the board.
Thank you. I see that there are two more questions online. Board member Savrishina, followed by board member Ka'apana Aki. Please limit the time of you have 2 minutes, but please keep it shorter if we can, so we can proceed with the agenda. Go ahead, member Savrishina.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, I just reminded everybody, I asked Mr. Garcia on the last meeting about the possible unconstitutionality of the Jones Act in 2024. When it was enacted, 1920, Hawaii wasn't the United States yet, but the Constitution prevents ports in United States to discriminate against each other. So obviously, we in Hawaii are held hostage by this act because we are served by the Matson monopoly, which is responsible for 100% of the imports, which is almost 84% of what we need here. And so what would be your response? I yield.
So Congressman Case has deep concerns about the Jones Act. The question of constitutionality wouldn't necessarily be something that he himself would press. That would have to be a court case. An individual would have to say that they're being harmed and then bring the question of constitutionality into that. He has not taken that route. He has introduced 3 different bills to try to get after the Jones Act and make significant reforms to shift the burden that disproportionately right now does affect Hawaii and the other non-contiguous areas, to make it either a national burden or potentially view it as a regulated monopoly, and then bring in some controls on that from the government perspective, again, to make sure that there's fair pricing. But to your direct question, the congressman hasn't gone after the constitutionality question. That would have to be a lawsuit raised by a member of the community who feels they're being harmed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Member Kaapana Aki, please proceed.
So I'm not too sure why you would consider the island of Lanai as a possible national heritage site when the majority of it is owned by a private person, Mr. Ellison, when there are other islands like the island of Ka'ula, which has been kind of under the federal radar and projected to be perhaps a bomb practice site like Kaho'olawe was in the past. But Ka'ula is a very significant island of cultural value. So I would like Mr. Case to consider the island of Ka'ula as opposed to the island of Lanai.
Do you have a clarification?
Yeah, a clarification on that. My understanding right now for the Congressman Case's legislation doing with National Heritage Area is and a point. I believe Congresswoman Takuda has introduced legislation that's moving forward through Congress that deals with Lahaina rather than Lanai. But to your point, I think the congressman agreed that there's a lot of areas in Hawaii that need to be protected. I mean, he serves on the Natural Resources Committee, and he is aggressively looking at different parts of the state that should deserve some degree of protection. The challenge is finding communities that are willing to engage on that and going through the process of finding the consensus needed to do so. I know that we are looking at that site that the Navy is potentially expanding its bombing opportunities on. Talked directly to the Navy myself about that to better understand that. I don't know if that is a site that would necessarily meet the standards for a national heritage area, but I do want to reassure you that the congressman is looking for more areas if communities are interested to try to do more protection of our island, of our history, of our culture, and our lands.
Thank you. Are there any, is there a final question for Congressman Case's office? Member Gustafson.
A couple of years ago, the congressman said he was putting together a task force to help investigate the ports and why we were having illegal fireworks coming in. I think there was like $2 million or $2.5 million advocated for that. Do you have any reports or findings regarding that task force?
Yes, we can send to the board. We have a report that came back from the Consumer Product Protection Commission, I believe, is who did the analysis. The interesting kind of summary I had from it was that the federal government has a coordinating role that they can play. They can play an assisting role, but they needed a little leadership at the local level to kind of give the direction needed to the feds to make it work. That's kind of my short understanding, but I will send that to the board so that can be shared with all the members.
Thank you, Member Nelson, or Mr. Nelson, and thank you, Mr. Garcia, for your time tonight, your patience in being here this evening. For any answers and follow-up information, please send that to me, myself, as well as Rachel Cristobal. That'll be uploaded to our neighborhood board's Google Drive and distributed to the board members. Thank you.
Mahalo.
Okay, acknowledging that it's 10:12. We are here till 10:30. So Tony, representing the governor's office, welcome. You have 3 minutes. You don't have to use them all.
Don't worry, I won't. Again, Tony Schwartz, representing the governor's office. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the board. I'm just going to answer 3 of the questions that you guys asked last month. One was, when was DOT going to be opening the H1, H2 ramp in Pearl City by the towers? I provided you all with a diagram that was given to me, a map. So basically the H2, R2 ramp will be restricted to the city buses only without the left turn lane on Koala Street. Hawaii Department of Transportation will require DTS to install a gate for access control onto the H2, R2 ramp as part of a U-turn project. Construction for the left turn lane and signalized intersection at Koala will start second quarter of 2025, anticipated to be completed and open for, they anticipate the completion and opening of the left turn lane late 2025 or early 2026. So that was the answer I received from DOT. If there's any other questions later, feel free to send them to me. Another question I was given last month was about the Ethics Commission vacancies. One of the 2 is appointed by a governor, and an update was requested. So the governor's office issued a news release relating to the filing. Actually, it was the Ethics Commission that released the news release related to the filling of a vacancy last month. It was Rod Becker to fill that vacancy. And then per call to the commission today, there are no additional vacancies right now. I also provided the news release from the Ethics Commission that announced that appointment. And then the third question, a board member mentioned last year there was an announcement about the $30 million loan repayment for healthcare workers and wanted an update. So the Hawaii Education Loan Repayment Program, or HELP, uses $30 million to provide for up to $50,000 for each of 2 years to help pay off student loans for healthcare workers. And it's been so successful that they're down to $10 million left as of September. So the governor recently stated publicly that in the next session, he's going to propose an additional $30 million to help the next group of healthcare workers pay off their loans over subsequent 2 years. And if you want more information, I can read it into the record, the link to this, but I know I don't have much time. Would you like me to do that? Or
Actually, we could put it in the chat.
It's in the chat now.
Okay, great, awesome.
So yeah, the Hawaii Pacific Basin AHEC page has the application instructions and program information, which is now in the chat.
Great.
And that is it.
Mahalo, Tony. Are there any members of the public or members of the board who would like to address any questions to Tony on behalf of the governor's office at this time? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next up, we have Tracy Kubota, Mayor's Rep.
Good evening, Board Chair members, Tracy Kubota, Mayor Rick Blangiardi's representative. Okay, so first, ENV, Environmental Services, wants to inform everybody that they're going to be increasing sewer service charges. And they asked that the board members, board chairs reach out to them to schedule board presentations and to ask questions.
That will be scheduled in January's meeting.
Okay, perfect, thank you. DIT, we have staff on the line just in case, but this is regarding the 311 app follow-up. The question was if there's going to be a new 311 app, do we discontinue using the current 311 app and will we be notified? So the answer is citizens should continue to use the current Honolulu 311 app. New Honolulu 311 application will not be available until early next year, and the public will be notified when to start using the new app. Staff is online if in case we have further questions. I'm going to jump to the other question about details from the 311 app that were referred to respective agencies. The block streetlight on Mililani Avenue and Hokuleva Loop. DPP said that they did not receive or any of the mentioned complaints, but this is what it is. If there's a private tree branch that's of concern, DPP can only enforce an 8-foot height clearance over the sidewalk and a 14-foot 6-inch over the road. If the signs or lights are higher than that, DPP cannot require the homeowner to cut private tree branches higher. If it's a street tree, then we assign to DFM for further consideration with PR. The question on, they're both referring to that, the block street lights. Questions on the fire hydrant installation by the Kunia Road near the country club. Where the water system does not extend to this area, this area, the country club is on its own private water system. Then pole lights request. Can there be installation of pole lights on Kunia Road, specifically close to the Hawaii Country Club? It's dark and it's dangerous. DDC had looked into the area and Kunia Road is under the state of Hawaii jurisdiction. I think that's it that we've got for that. And that's my 3 minutes. Any questions?
Any questions from the members of the public and neighborhood board? Please raise your recognized. Member Lee, Marilyn Lee, excuse me.
Thank you. I just had a question about the fireworks bill that the council was going to approve. Have they approved it and has it been vetoed?
I think it's still going through the process.
Still
right?
going through the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, it's been approved. Okay, I'm sorry. It's been approved.
It's been approved.
It's
and-
pending review by mayor. Yeah. Okay. Sorry
And
about
then,
that.
and the mayor did promise to veto it.
That's what was mentioned.
Okay. I just want you to convey the message to the mayor that that's very good news.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions from board members to the mayor's rep or members of the community? Going once, going twice, seeing none. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you.
We're going to move on. It is 10:19. We are going to Welcome, Councilmember Valokimoto. You have 3 minutes, but you don't need to take it all.
Good evening, Chair, members of the board, members of the community, Councilmember Valakino Okimoto. You have my written report before you. Just a few things that I'd like to mention. I know in a previous, I think it was last month, the question was brought up, I might have been by the chair, about a police station in Mililani. I will let you know that as of right now, a resolution has been drafted. I got to see it. I signed it. It is being amended as we speak. So as soon as that's done, and I believe we have your name in it as well as somebody who's going to be, we want the copies to be sent to you. So as soon as that is done, we'll send it to you. I did see the draft and we're working on it. And we are in committee hearings week this week. Just a couple of resos that have been passed through my office. I was an introducer, a reso 24-199, and that's urging the state legislature to assist with the classifying of e-bikes because that's been a huge concern in the community. And just, I think it was today's Tuesday, Wednesday, yesterday, I believe, Resolution 24-242 went through our EMLA committee, which deals with the homeowners insurance increases. And that's another resolution that we are, again, urging the state legislature to assist us in that because on the city level, we are not able to address those needs. But I've had numerous constituents contact myself and my office about the dire situation we are being faced with at this time. If you would like to submit testimony in support of this resolution, I would encourage you to do so. Our next full council meeting is November 7th at 10 a.m., but you can submit testimony. The agenda should be posted a week before, and you can submit testimony that way. And if you could come and either do it online, on Zoom, or in person to offer verbal testimony, that would be welcome as well. And tomorrow, I'm as the committee chair of the Public Safety Committee. My committee is usually in the afternoon at 1, but it will be held at 9 a.m. tomorrow. And we have a couple of resos of bill on fire code, but also I'm having an informational briefing from EMS. They're going to be doing an update. I've asked them to come and report on billing as well as closures and retention and retainment based on some of the news stories I've been seeing in the media and some concerns or questions that have been brought to my attention. Finally, we were able to participate in the skate park blessing. Our chair Bass was there. Our members of the community were there. It was a really happy night for us. Thankful for our A1 electricians, and Ashley, she was a warrior in providing that service for us and having the city come together with the private organization, but also working with our state legislature and everybody, the community, to have that come to fruition. And last but not least, this Saturday, I don't see anybody here from the YMCA, but they are having their annual trunk and treat, and my team and I will be there. It's 4:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the YMCA parking lot, and I'll gladly take any questions at this time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Okimoto. I do want to share, Member Ka'anehe was in the chat. She, well, thank you for mentioning the skate park ceremony. And, you know, I do want to give this opportunity for our, excuse me, I don't recall the title, Community Recognitions and Service Awards Chair Josie Ka'anehe, who did, on behalf of this board, recognize with 3 certificates to Mililani individuals.
Thank
at
you.
that.
And you did bring them. Thank you.
Please, Josie, go ahead.
Thank you, Josie.
I'm sorry. Next slide. Okay, so we gave 3 out. Also at Elise Hermani's request, Cody Nario, Braxton Ramon, Ashe Ohia, regarding the lights at the park. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and thank you to the Councilmember Okimoto and the mayor's office as well.
The mayor's office was a good support.
was a
We
wonderful
communicated
ceremony
regularly
and
with
good
them.
touch.
And we are inviting Ashley and A1 electricians to the Holly to offer them, to present them with an honorary certificate. I believe the president will not be available that day on November 7th, but if anybody would like to come and support and, you know, show the support behind this community partnership that we've made, you know, you're welcome to. That is at 8:30 a.m.
Thank you.
on Thursday. It's Thursday, not a Wednesday, because of election
Thank
day.
you.
Thank
So
you.
members of this board, our board, did recognize
You
those
did.
3
Thank you for doing
individuals, so
that.
Thank you. Okay, any other questions for Councilmember Okimoto at this time? It is 10:23. Mr. Berg, you have a question for Councilmember Okimoto?
Yeah, everyone needs to know about the behavior and attitude of this councilwoman. Outstanding. She read my emails. She was at a hearing on September 26th about this issue we've been discussing earlier. And she knows. There was a board member here that brought up, can we change the zoning? Can we do something with the city and help them out? She's the only one that paid attention. It's a state law No matter what the city zones this thing, the state says you can't do that end use activity because the golf course is a non-permitted end use according to HRS, according to Act 205, Hawaii Session Laws 2005. Kudos to you for standing up to the squad. And everyone needs to know this woman is outstanding. She does her homework. She knows her law. And I just want to say thank you for what you did standing up to get the rule of law adhered to.
Mahalo, Mr. Burke. Are there any other questions from this, from the public or the board members for Council Member Okimoto? Acknowledging we have 6 more minutes. Questions?
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. We're going to move on to Council Member Matt Wyer's office. I see Kelly Anaya is available online. Kelly, it's 10:25. You have 3 minutes. You don't have to use them all.
Don't worry, I'll do my best not to. Thank you, Chair and members of the board. Kelly Anaya from Councilmember Matt Wyer's office. Just wanted to highlight some legislative updates. Bill 40 regarding self-certification for solar permits has passed 3rd reading. Bill 22 regarding legalization of certain fireworks also passed 3rd reading against Councilmember Wyer's no vote. Councilmember's main concern with the measure was the potential for risk of wildfires, as well as HFD's presentation of data on human injury and fire risks. See, Resolution 24213 provides recycling receptacles in city parks and recreation facilities, also passed out of council and has been adopted. Councilmember would like to thank the Honolulu Youth Commission for spearheading Bill 52, which regulates e-bikes, passed 2nd reading at full council. Bill 46, which relates to the empty homes tax, passed 2nd reading. Councilmember would encourage everyone to please continue to provide feedback on ways the bill could be adjusted to serve the community's needs best. And let's see, lastly, Bill 47, the Aina Kapuna tax relief bill, as well as Bill 45, which increases the income threshold on low income tax credits, has also passed 2nd reading. If anyone has any questions for a council member, I can take them back to him.
Okay, it's 10:26. Are there any questions from the members of the Mililani Neighborhood Board or the public for Councilmember Wyer's office? Questions? Seeing and hearing none. Thank you so much, Kelly.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, we're going to move on to Senator Michelle Kidani's representative. Trevor, please proceed. It's
Good evening,
10:27.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, members of the public. My name is Trevor Nagamine. I'm here on behalf of Senator Michelle Kidani tonight. I'd like to stand on Senator's written report, and I'd be happy to take any questions.
Members of the board and the public, are there any questions for Senator Kidani's office at this time? Member Gustafson.
Since the workforce housing project was part of Kidani's plan and initiative, would she be interested in hosting a town hall with members of the community and the SFA in regards to the questions and concerns that they have?
Yes, that's something I can pass on back to the office to see if that's something that we can arrange.
Okay. Also, Chair, in regards to that, I don't know if we need to take any action before or after the town hall, or what this board's position would be in regards to that.
In terms of a town hall or generally with relation to that project?
Right. Should we wait until after the town hall? Should we take action before the town hall? Should we take action at all?
You know, let's digest what happened tonight. I will have open conversations with the SFA as well as our 2 senators and Mililani High School regarding this on how we can proceed collectively as a community.
Okay.
And I will communicate with the board as well. Any other questions for Senator Kidani's office? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's 10:28. I'd like to welcome Malachi on behalf of Senator Dela Cruz's office. Please proceed with your report.
Good evening. Thank you, Chair, members of the Neighborhood Board. I'll try to keep quick with some updates and follow-ups from questions that were asked last time around. The first one, I believe there was a question kind of regarding Senator's approach to the SFA's teacher housing project. Just want to reiterate Senator's approach and his role has been basically asking SFA for a clear community engagement plan and have them, reach out to the community and be clear about what their plan is and what kind of input can be be taken in. So I'm glad they were able to share some things tonight, and we are happy to continue relaying community feedback to the SFA going forward.
Thank you, Malachi. It's 10:29 members. Are there any questions for Senator Dela Cruz's office? We have 1 minute left for this facility's use. Members of the public, any questions for Senator Dela Cruz's office? Seeing and hearing none, thank you so much. Members, it's 10:29. I'm going to conclude this meeting. We do not have any more time to have any more elected official reports of the chairs and board committees, or announcements. So those matters will be deferred. Our next board meeting will be on November 27th. And thank you everyone for coming out tonight for a very respectful and wonderful decorum of this meeting. This meeting is adjourned. It is 10:30. Mahalo.